Talley is facing charges after he was spotted suspiciously walking the grounds at Trump National Golf Course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. Investigators say Talley had a loaded pistol and a 16-round magazine.
That's Tom Graham. America's listening to Fox News.
History isn't just in textbooks. It's the story of us, the United States. 2026 marks 250 years of America. And throughout the year, Bill Hemmer takes listeners on a journey through the 250 most impactful moments in American history. From the spark of revolution to the battles for freedom, the ideas, inventions, and decisions that changed the world. The 250 most impactful moments in American history podcast. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com.
You never know who might be taking the quiz.
Hi, everyone. It's Candace Cameron Bure.
Hey, everyone. It's Phil Sims.
It's Dolores Catania.
Hey, everyone. I'm Kix Brooks.
It's Candace Bushnell.
I'm Rob Paulson.
I'm Ryan Serhant.
Hey, everyone. I'm Nicole Polizzi.
Hey, everybody. It's Kevin Nealon.
What's up, guys? It's Nia Sue, and it's time to take the quiz.
5 questions in less than 5 minutes every day. Listen and follow at thequiz.fox.
Hundreds of homes and other buildings are now ashes and rubble in the Spokane, Washington area, where 3 wildfires rage, still uncontained. One of them was set, and the arson suspect made his first court appearance.
The defendant, appearing by video from jail, gave his name for the record.
Aaron Forrest Farinacci.
He's been charged with intentionally setting the wildfire that has destroyed hundreds of structures and forced tens of thousands to evacuate areas near Spokane. County Prosecutor Preston McCollum asked for
a bond amount of no less than $1 million.
Along with other conditions, which the judge agreed to after Farinacci's lawyer reserved the right to argue bond and conditions later. According to court records, Farinacci denied setting the wildfire. He was questioned last year about 2 other wildfires, but not charged with either of them. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
And one of the deadly and destructive wildfires in the Los Angeles area in 2025 was also a suspected arson. Another one, though, being blamed on a utility company, Southern California Edison. Fire officials say it was arcing from a transmission tower that sparked the deadly Eaton fire. Another Catholic archdiocese is dealing with a court case related to priest sexual abuse.
A U.S. bankruptcy court clearing the way for clergy abuse claimants to move ahead with an estimated $500 million lawsuit. Judge Heather Cooper says creditors can pursue not only the highest level of bank and building holdings, but also possession of nearly 70 parishes of the Vermont diocese. It filed for Chapter 11 protection 2 years ago, arguing that a series of priest misconduct settlements reduced its financial holdings in half to about $35 million. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising the day after big gains. The Dow went up a little more than 900 points, closing over 54,000 for the first time. The S&P 500 also closed at a record high. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
As we all live longer, age really is just a number, but retirement is so much more than one. Hi, I'm Nolan Webster, your Chicagoland Edward Jones financial advisor, and I want to know what retirement means to you. Together, we can look at the big picture and make a strategy to help you reach your goals, because you can't prepare for the unexpected if you don't know where you're headed. Call me at 224-801-6107. That's 224-801-6107, or visit edwardjones.com to get started. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
For over 40 years, the Heartland Institute has stood for the ideas that built this country. Free markets, limited government, and individual freedom. Now you're invited to celebrate that legacy in person. Join Heartland on Thursday, September 3rd for their 42nd anniversary benefit dinner at the historic Palmer House Hilton in downtown Chicago, one of the city's most iconic addresses for over 150 years. This year's keynote speaker is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has led Florida through 2 terms of record economic growth, making it one of the fastest growing states in the nation. The evening kicks off with a reception at 5, dinner at 6, an evening of great company, great conversation, and a shared belief in the principles that made America exceptional. Seats are limited, and they will go fast. Reserve yours today at benefit.heartland.org. That's benefit.heartland.org. The Heartland Institute's 42nd Anniversary Benefit Dinner, September 3rd, Palmer House Hilton, Chicago. Don't just believe in freedom. Celebrate it.
Results may vary and are not guaranteed. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. What if the person you're meant to be is just one decision away? If alcohol has become a bigger part of your life than you ever intended, maybe it's time for a fresh start. A chance to live with more purpose and more clarity. Choose Your Horizon can help. Choose Your Horizon is a discreet online program designed by a Mayo Clinic trained doctor to help you cut back or quit drinking from the privacy of your home. We provide FDA-approved medication that helps reduce alcohol cravings, along with optional coaching, health testing, and ongoing support. Whether your goal is to cut back, take control, or stop drinking completely, Choose Your Horizon lets you choose the level of support that's right for you. Choose Your Horizon is completely private and designed to fit your schedule. No rehab, no judgment, just results. A better tomorrow begins with one choice today. To get your free same-day doctor consultation, text HOPE to 54504. Text HOPE to 54504. Text HOPE to 54504 now.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Class A Insurance, owned by Thomas Iacenta.
It's August 5th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is Oyster Day, celebrating the different number of species of bivalve mollusks, which many find delicious. On this day in 1981, President Ronald Reagan fires more than 11,300 air traffic controllers, striking in violation of his order for them to return to work. Actress Marilyn Monroe is found dead in her home in 1962. The singer and sex symbol is still a Hollywood icon.
You own a yacht? Which one is it? The fake one?
Certainly not. With all the unrest in the world, I don't think anybody should have a yacht that sleeps more than 12.
I quite agree.
Toni Morrison, a novelist known for highlighting the Black experience, died on this day in 2019. She was the first African-American woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993. Her book, Beloved, won the Pulitzer Prize in 1988. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Hi, I'm Dr. Huber with Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Back when the government was suppressing other forms of therapy for COVID and many doctors were being persecuted for stepping up, we felt the absolute necessity to act. That's why I developed Virago during the pandemic, to give people a powerful way to strengthen their immune system and fight back. Since then, feedback from users has shown us that Virago helps with so much more than what we originally anticipated, bringing relief and improvement to people dealing with allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases by supporting a healthy immune function. Join me Friday, August 28th at Sean Fest. Tune in or come by and hear me interviewed by the great Sean Thompson, a true patriot, for a conversation you won't want to miss.
Order your bottle of Virago today. Visit myvirago.com. Use the coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Your home or business has storm damage and you have an insurance claim.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters. Today, insurance companies are notorious for offering way too little money to repair damage to your home or commercial building due to wind, hail, tornado, floods, or fire. Crosscom works for you, not the insurance company. As licensed adjusters, Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. After they get you the fair insurance company result, Crosscom can start doing your repairs. Crosscom is a full construction and restoration company that will get your property back to its pre-loss condition, getting your life back to normal. Roof, siding, windows, doors, fire restoration, Crosscom does it all.
Call Crosscom.
Licensed in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. We share your conservative and Christian values. Let us handle everything. It all starts with a call.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
I'm Ben Barzita.
And I'm Matt Nadeau, founding partners of Barzita and Nadeau Wealth Management. And after more than a decade on the air, we're excited to be back with our brand new show, Money Hour Radio.
Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on AM 560 as we break down retirement planning, market trends, tax reduction strategies, and our Advance and Protect investment approach.
It's sophisticated planning, independent analysis, and trusted guidance backed by over 40 years of combined experience.
Join us for Money Hour Radio, Saturdays at 1 p.m. on AM 560.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
Hey, did you ever track down that missing warehouse key?
I forgot all about it.
You forgot? You said that guy was furious when you had to let him go.
That doesn't matter anymore. Goldilocks set us up with new managed access control. We're keyless now. Everyone has a card or fob. Even their phone works.
Huh. You don't have to worry about people copying keys either.
Yeah, never again. Goldilocks allows me to handle everything from my phone or laptop. I can see who came into the building, when they left, restrict their access at night. I can grant temporary access to visitors, too. It takes 30 seconds to add or remove someone.
That sounds a lot safer and simpler.
Stop guessing who has access to your building. Set up access controls today by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600 or visit GoldilocksInc.com. Goldilocks. Security under your control.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be mainly cloudy and humid with occasional rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on streets and highways. The temperature will reach a high of 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Kroc filling in for Dan Proft once again. Well, we don't have the official tallies and totals in yet, but it looks like you're going to have Abdul El-Sayed as the senator from Michigan. If I kind of look at the latest figures coming in, and I got the little New York Times. I know that New York Times is like a broken clock, only right twice a day, but nonetheless, it is 48.6% over 47.3%, 1.3%, and that's 95% of the votes are in. So personally, I will be quite surprised if Abdul El-Sayed doesn't win, but this is quite a fight for the radical Islamist Jew hater El-Sayed and the lunatic crazy lady who's like, she really is like Chris Farley. You're going to be living in a van down by the river. A little bit of stick it to him. It's like, what are you talking about, lady? We have to play this one. She never gets old. She said this last night or this morning, whatever, when she was giving her speech, saying, we got to go to bed or get a little bit of coffee. And she used this line again.
I'm going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf.
Yeah.
And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them.
Yeah. Ah. What a, oh boy. I have a little lunatic sound in there, huh? But what's pretty really messed up and really concerning and really scary is how mainstream anti-Semitism has become the Democrat Party. In just a little bit, I'm going to share a story that was written about the Attorney General for the state of Michigan, a Jew who literally is afraid to go to her Democrat state convention because she knows that the Jew haters are overwhelming the Democrats and that they will heckle her like they've done before, and they will chase her out and shout her down because she's a Jew, not because she's a Democrat. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Where are all these socialist, communist supporters coming from? Well, look at this. The DSA, in a lengthy piece in the Wall Street Journal today, or the other day, I should say, the DSA now counts more than 120,000 members, half of whom joined after Israel launched its war with Gaza, after Gaza broke the ceasefire and committed a mass terror attack and genocide and Holocaust, the largest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust, on October 7th. So that kicked in mass amounts of people joining the DSA. They said this is a great place to go if we hate Jews, if we want to blame Jews for what ails us. And we're seeing a tremendous pattern in these communists who call themselves socialists. Many of them get these degrees and secondary degrees, and have tremendous amount of student loan debt. The Malat Koros lady, who was at a New York City law firm, went on a rampage after October 7th, was fired by her New York law firm, went back to Colorado, and became a barista with hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt from school, and is a broke barista. And she got elected. It goes on and on that Dara Aliza Chevalier is in the same boat, broke, tons of debt from school, and it's perfect. You know, you rack up tons of debt, you don't have a job, or you have a crappy job by your own choice, and then you want somebody to bail you out, so you become a socialist to have the government bail you out, because it's not your fault. And so I do believe that we're going to see the Al-Sayed, who is a socialist communist but won't admit it, as the victor within an hour or two or three, something like that. We'll watch the votes coming in, continue to watch that for you. But there's a theme with the socialists. There's a word, and us Christians call it a sin, envy, envious. The 10 Commandments: don't covet your neighbor, don't covet your neighbor's car, your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife. Don't be envious of what others have. Look at yourself, and God wants you to judge you based on your accomplishments, based on what you have done in your past. Judge yourself against yourself, not against others. But socialism and communism and this movement in our country is rooted in envy, a sin. Why do they have that? I want that. I want. You have, I don't have. I want. The Democrats are in the middle of experiencing what the Republican Party had when we had the Tea Party. Do you remember when the Tea Party started? I remember exactly where I was. I was in Georgia, and it was just starting to pick up, and I started a local Tea Party and had a big event with speakers, and my wife and I put it together with our radio station. We lined it up, and that was the beginning of us being pissed off. That led to us getting Trump. That led to us getting victory after victory after victory, most of the time, in a complete upheaval of the Republican Party as we know it, being a party for the working class of this country, being a party that welcomes legal immigration, celebrates legal immigration, love of a country unabashedly, raw, naked conservatism, Second Amendment, First Amendment rights, faith at the forefront of everything. An integral part of everything. Sovereignty. Freedom. And so now the Democrat Party is undergoing their own version of a Tea Party, but this, it is rooted in anger at the mainstream Democrat Party. And they're weak, and so what they're seeing is a Tea Party of their own, which is communists. Communists coming within the party and overthrowing it, taking it, coming from within, winning elections, and destroying it. If you get enough, and there's going to be enough, most likely, congressmen and congresswomen in the Democrat Socialist, basically the Communist Party, in the Democrats, that they're going to have enough power to sway a lot of things. Chuck Schumer's out. AOC is not going to run for the Senate seat. She's going to run for president. I do think that the predictions that Mamdani will run for the Senate seat of Chuck Schumer, I think that's absolutely quite possible. Absolutely quite possible. And they'll put that guy right in there. While people like Hochul will kiss his butt and would never want to support the guy, but since he's in charge, will kiss his butt publicly, won't call him out. Nobody will stand up to him. Nobody will call him out. They're afraid. So you have two things in this new movement. You have envy, which is a sin, which is the Socialist Democrat Party. And of course, you now know that we have, in some recent polls, 62% of adults under 30 hold a favorable view of socialism. 62% of adults under 30 hold a favorable view of socialism. Socialism, Jason L. Riley writes in his column in Wall Street Journal today, socialism elicits less steadfast, unfavorable views among younger Republicans, even compared to their fellow partisans. Victories in Colorado, Georgia, Kentucky, New York. On the ballot in Michigan, which I do believe Syed will win in the next couple hours. Missouri, Wisconsin. Cory Bush was trounced in Missouri by a little bit more of a moderate Democrat, but nonetheless. You got that lunatic Hong in Wisconsin, who you're going to hear from in just a few minutes as well. I've got audio from her and some of the craziness. El Sayed was partying it up with Hassan Piker and still is. A guy who, of course, celebrates, said 9/11 was our fault. And by the way, he dressed up as Mao Zedong, basically, as you probably heard about recently at speaking to college students. And one of the things he said about Mao Zedong, said, I never would and never will, Hassan Piker said, bestie here with El Sayed, I never would and never will criticize Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong starved 40 to 80 million people, and some of whom he publicly executed. A lot of whom, millions of whom he publicly executed. Most of them starved to death, though. And he will never criticize him. Abdullah Sayed lies to you and says Medicare for all. What the Medicare he's selling you is not Medicare. It is a fraud. His wife, as you know, doesn't take Medicare at her private psychiatric practice. She's cash only, no Medicare. They're very wealthy. But his lie about Medicare for all is right here. He says free child care, which of course will be paid for by you and me. Medicare for all, which is a fraud. I'll get to that in a second. 8% wealth tax on billionaires. Meanwhile, he and his wife earned $687,000 in income last year. They're in the top 1% of Michigan earners. And by the way, he will not give up that money. You know that, and I know that. They used to call it the millionaires. Now they call it the billionaires because they're the millionaires now. But his version of universal Medicare, or I should say Medicare for all, is not, in fact, what he's offering. Alyssa Finley wrote a great column about this. I want to share pieces of that with you coming up next, because it's really interesting if you look at the details how much of a lie his Medicare for all is. Also, I want to get into as I was mentioning, the Attorney General for the state of Michigan, a Jew who has openly said as a Democrat she's now not going to go to the upcoming state convention because she knows she'll be shouted down at. She's afraid. She's afraid of Jew haters that have taken over her party. And she's unwilling to call them out directly. Cowardice. And I wonder how far liberal Democrat Jews will allow this to keep going. It's really sad and it's really disturbing. But I'll share how that went down because it's really amazing, that story. And then also, you're going to hear a few more stories of these young DSAers who are coming up and who they are. I've got audio of Al Sayed. I've got audio of Francesca Hong in Wisconsin. And so much more coming up next. If you want to chime in as well, that's 312-642-5600. Love to hear from you, 312-642-5600. It's Chris Crock and Verdan Proft on AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
Some places just become part of the community. Shannon's Deli is one of those places. For over 25 years, this woman-owned downtown Lombard favorite has been serving fresh, made-to-order sandwiches, homemade soups, signature salads, and some of the friendliest service you'll find anywhere. It's the kind of place where customers become regulars, and regulars become friends. Whether you're grabbing lunch, meeting coworkers, or picking up catering for the office, you'll taste the difference that comes from quality ingredients and genuine hospitality. Shannon's Deli is just 35 feet from the Metro train station. Then, when the sun goes down, head over to Shannon's Irish Pub in Glen Ellen for great food, your favorite drink, live entertainment, and the warm Irish hospitality you've come to expect from the Shannon's family. Shannon's Irish Pub is just 2 blocks from the Metro station. Visit shannonsdeli.net and shannonsirishpub.info.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, Iran. We'll talk a lot about Iran a little bit later on the show, I promise you that. Coming up next, audio of Abdul Sayed, who's probably going to win this morning, and Francesca Hong. Hear how Abdul Sayed's version for Medicare for All is a complete scam. All that's coming up next, and how the Jewish Democrat Attorney General for the state of Michigan won't go to the state party convention because she's too afraid of Jew haters. All that's up next. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Into the news with Mike Scott.
Chris, good morning. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, we see a threat of severe weather in your forecast for today. Multiple rounds of showers and storms crossing through the Chicago area. A shelter-in-place order has been lifted for parts of a southwest suburb as several police agencies Tuesday investigated the area. Will County sheriffs responded to the 13,000 block of Maverick Trail in Homer Glen to help several agencies with a person who had barricaded themselves inside of a home on that block. While the shelter in place has been lifted now, the scene remains active. A teen boy is dead, struck by a vehicle while riding an e-scooter on Chicago's north side this week. Police say 16-year-old Alex Blasio was riding the scooter in the 4100 block of Northwestern Avenue when he lost control. The investigation is proceeding. There have been at least 3 scooter bike deaths in the Chicago area from Wakanda all the way into the city in 2026. Chicago Fire Department estimates they responded to nearly 600 incidents involving e-scooters this year. Another story we're following today, a former top Chicago public school official is accused of massive COVID-19 fraud. Crystal Cooper has been indicted on 3 counts of wire fraud. She resigned as chief operating officer for CPS during an investigation by the district's inspector general in 2023. Cooper is pleading not guilty. A group of top-ranking Chicago police leaders are pushing to form their own union. A lawyer with the Illinois Police Benevolent and Protective Association sent a letter to the Johnson administration asking the city to recognize a new collective bargaining unit of police commanders and deputy chiefs. Chicago Mayor Johnson appears not to be moved after losing his second high-profile financial staffer inside of a week. He mentioned at a news gathering yesterday that Annette Guzman is resigning to take care of an aging parent.
As long as the mission and the vision that I have put forth is carried out and executed by the team that's around me, the city of Chicago will remain stable.
Her resignation comes only days after the city's CFO, Stephen Marr, stepped down after only 8 months on the job. The staffing changes come amid a troublesome mid-year budget update from the mayor's finance team. 3 people are hurt in a crash in McHenry County as a Jeep slammed into a semi Monday near Route 14 and South Hughes Road. The Bears locked down their right tackle. Darnell Wright was awarded a 4-year contract extension yesterday worth about $116 million, $93 million in guaranteed money. Cubs generate some late offense and take down the Dodgers 5-1. White Sox embarrassed by the Red Sox at the Fens, 14-2. The news, a service of Lowe's. Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Perfect. Bring in a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo and get what you need in minutes. Plus, access to thousands of products beyond what's in store or on or at Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and in 2 minutes, we'll have the AccuWeather forecast from our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Scott Jennings reviews the Fauci diaries.
If you look through these diaries, you see that Fauci himself had private concerns, private conversations, and private doubts that he refused to acknowledge honestly in the public, and the damage this did to the public health regime in America will take decades to undo.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
The TV tide is turning, and millions of Americans are tuning to Salem News Channel. For breaking news, common sense analysis, and the conservative voices leading the conversation, SNC delivers the stories that matter most. Watch Scott Jennings, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, and many others tackling the issues facing our nation. Stream free on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, the Roku channel, and more. Salem News Channel. The news you want, the perspective you trust.
So your next 5 minutes could be your most productive 5 minutes in years, at least when it comes to your finances anyway. That's all it takes to find out exactly how much you'll save joining Medi-Share versus what you're paying now for healthcare. It's very typical for people to find out they can save hundreds a month, thousands a year. The typical family saves up to $500 a month. And healthcare sharing is different for sure. It's refreshing different. We know from member surveys, people love saving the money, of course, but they also just like Medi-Share more than what they were doing before for healthcare costs. And it's not a new thing. It's been proven for more than 30 years. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are part of this. So call them now. They are great to talk to. And very quickly, you'll find out what you can save. You can get your questions answered. Your next 5 minutes could mean saving hundreds a month, month after month. And here is the number. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be mainly cloudy and humid with occasional rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Be cautious as downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on roads. The temperature will reach a high of 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Well, folks are chiming in on the Alpha Wealth Group text line. You can also call in and text on that line. 312-642-5600 for the Alpha Wealth Group call and text line. One person chiming in saying, you're pushing fear porn. Michigan has open primaries. Many Republicans are voting for it, ... I'm sure Al-Sayed. But here's the thing. I'm not pushing fear porn. Mike Rogers lost by like 18 or 19,000 votes in the last Senate race for Michigan. He's going to win. If he's up against Al-Sayed, he's going to win by a nice margin. The thing is, though, we have a real problem in this country. And it's interesting when you talk to, when you hear people, some people say good that the Democrats are being taken over by the communist socialists. Others say bad, like Ted Cruz was on last night on Fox. And he said it was bad for all of us. Well, it is. First of all, it's crazy that so many people, young people particularly, but others, Democrats, are so widely open to socialism now, when they don't realize how many millions of people have been killed in the name of socialism. you have the combination, as I said, of socialists having envy, the sin of envy, and then also having Jew hatred. In fact, the Attorney General for the state of Michigan, Dana Nessel, a column by Seth Mandel the other day, American Jews who are shocked by the anti-Semitism in formerly friendly places and spaces, but feel obliged to let the world know that, first of all, the Israeli government doesn't represent them. Why does a Jew need to tell anybody that the Israeli government doesn't represent them? When have they had to do this? What's next after saying that they don't agree with the Israeli government? What's next after that? What will the next litmus test be for them to be a Jew that's spared from doing God knows what, to yelling, screaming, doing God knows what? And if you think I'm exaggerating, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, who is Jewish, revealed her plans to avoid attending the state Democrat Party's convention, which begins at the end of this month. She said, quote, "I don't feel safe going. I feel like my presence isn't going to be welcome. I don't want to get chased around. I don't want to get harassed. I don't want to get yelled and screamed at. I don't want to get booed off the stage, irrespective of what I'm saying, and I believe that if I go, that is what will happen because it's been happening to me." What in God's name is the Attorney General for the state of Michigan doing, not boldly going up to these bleepity bleeps, or when they approach her, to stand firm? To stand firm. How could she be publicly saying she's too afraid to go to the convention when she should stand up and grow a pair and go there? And be a Sophie Cunningham, if you will. Instead, she's afraid. And when terrorists smell fear, or when the enemy smells fear, when the shark smells blood in the water, they attack, they go, more come at you. That's why you don't back down and you don't apologize. Unless you've done something wrong. And being a Jew is not doing something wrong. Nessel, an attorney general, filed charges against several pro-Hamas activists at the University of Michigan for on-campus law-breaking and getting violent with police who were trying to clear a major fire hazard by demonstrations. Rashida Tlaib, the radical leftist Palestinian American congresswoman, led a public campaign accusing Nessel of bias towards her fellow Jews. The McCarthyite campaign eventually succeeded in pressuring Nessel to drop the charges. She gave. She broke down, and she gave in. They smell blood in the water. They're not going to let up. They're going to keep going and going and going and going. It presaged what happened at the Michigan Democrat Endorsement Convention in April, when anti-Semitic hecklers and a heavily progressive activist crowd taunted and shouted down Jewish candidates and those deemed too friendly to Jewish causes. To bully Jewish Democrat politicians, what the goal is, he says, Mandel says, is to bully Jewish Democrat politicians out of the party's public gatherings. That's exactly right. The Jewish Democrat Council of America says, quote, "She's not alone. We've heard from other Jewish Democrats who attended the Democrat Party convention earlier this year in Michigan. They've blurred the line for some into anti-Semitic sentiment, and that's really concerning," they say. And Mandel says it's right. He's right. He says it's because she's Jewish. That's all it is. She's being hounded by anti-Semites, and that's the distinction that actually matters. And that's exactly right. And it's very simple. If you believe in what the Bible says, God says, if you bless Israel, I will bless you, and if you curse Israel, I will curse you. It's that simple. And just because the Israelites are, at this moment, secularist humanists for the most part, and very liberal and all sorts of stuff that's ungodly, they are still God's chosen people. And sure, the state of Israel can be wrong, and sure, the state of Israel makes mistakes, and sure, they're just as corrupt as any other government out there. But God is clear about what he says about the Jewish people. And this is good versus evil. And with that, we'll chime in with Craig, who's called in at 312-642-5600 on the Alpha Wealth Group text line and phone line. Craig in Mount Greenwood, you're on AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris in for Dan.
Good morning, Chris. Really appreciate you taking my call because it's important. you are spot on. You're a good man because I've got friends at work and that they know I'm a Christian. And hey, what is all this going on in this world, man? With where's God? Where's God? I says, hey, it started in the garden. God told Adam and Eve after they sinned everything. The planet Earth is cursed. Every promise of anything good in paradise is all in heaven, not on earth. God warned that the devil would roam around the earth like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, destroying everything, wrecking everything, turning everything backwards, the anti-Semitism, the immorality with the little children and everything, all of the injustice, the crime. That's where the earth is going, and the only escape and place of paradise where it all ends is in heaven. That's why people have to put their faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ for salvation and go to heaven and leave this place. We're sojourners if we're Christians, just passing through this rotten place.
Well,
I'll tell you, people don't understand. Go ahead.
I appreciate your call, first of all. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you what else, too. With the socialists and the communists, what their God is their movement. That's their God. With a lot of liberal Democrats, that's their God is government. Their God is their movement. Their God is their politics. And that's a sad place to be. I want to play some audio of Abdul al-Sayed. 2 different pieces of audio I want to play for you. Here he is with his speech before the end of the night or in the early morning here before everybody's gone home and waiting for the final results. Al-Sayed is up by 1.3 points with 95% of the precincts reporting or the votes counted. Here he is talking about the win and using a Muslim word, inshallah, which is God willing.
I want you to remind them that if we come through this, when we come through this, inshallah, that we'll have taken $70 million on the chin and kept fighting back.
He is an Islamist. He is a Jew hater. He is a terrorist supporter and terrorist sympathizer. In fact, the Lebanese terrorist, the Hezbollah terrorist, whose brother and family are Hezbollah terrorists, whose brother in Lebanon as a Hezbollah terrorist was killed by a Israeli missile, thumped him right in the head and killed him. His brother, the Hezbollah terrorist, and his Hezbollah terrorist family in Lebanon, after he was killed, this American from Lebanon, who never should have been given citizenship, married an American woman, fathered some children with her. His brother was killed in Hezbollah, and then he went and tried to kill hundreds of Jewish school children, little Jewish children, by going to that synagogue in West Bloomfield Township, I believe it was, in Detroit area. He drove that van into a synagogue, into a Jewish synagogue and Jewish day school with the little children in it. He got through the hall with that van by crashing through an entrance that should have been blocked with bollards. Unfortunately, it doesn't have to be blocked with bollards, but because of the terrorists that want to kill and blow up churches and synagogues from radical Islamists and others, they have to put these bollards up. They weren't there. He drove into the main entrance, was stuck. His terrorist van was stuck in a hallway. He had his AR-15 or something of that nature in the car with him. Nothing wrong with the AR-15s. I own one, but when the terrorist has it, it's bad. He is stuck. He can't get out of the vehicle. There's incendiary devices. He had a whole bunch of fireworks, gasoline, and other stuff in his car because he was going to burn himself and blow himself up and kill a bunch of Jewish children. His van got stuck. He couldn't get out of either side. The armed guards there and off-duty police officers, etc., in the synagogue opened fire on this SOB terrorist. They popped him and dropped him. He burned alive. Not one little Jewish children was hurt. Not one hair on those little children's head was hit. And then comes Abdul al-Sayed to say, you know what? Yeah, he shouldn't have tried to kill all those Jewish children. Hundreds of them. But he's hurt. And hurt people hurt people. He's hurt because his terrorist brother with Hezbollah was killed.
When it comes to Temple Israel, I was profoundly shaken. Many of my friends growing up worshiped at Temple Israel. Nothing justifies the heinous attack that we saw on Temple Israel. I stand in solidarity with my Jewish sisters and brothers for an America where that kind of thing never happens again. I also think it's just critical for us to understand that hurt people do hurt people. And the circumstances happening 6,000 miles away can affect the lives that we live here. And if we stand against violence, we got to stand against violence.
Yes. Abdullah Sayed, the presumable Democrat candidate for senator. Yes, we can't kill terrorists. And when we do kill terrorists who are trying to kill us or Jews or both, when we do kill them righteously, you can't blame his brother for being a terrorist to try to kill the Jews here. He understands that. He sympathizes. Now he lies, as does all the socialists, whether they're ignorant or they know they're lying, about Medicare for all. Alyssa Finley in the Wall Street Journal wrote a great column about this, the Medicare for all scam from Abdul Al-Sayed. What Mr. Al-Sayed proposes isn't universal Medicare, she says, but a single-payer system with no premiums, no deductibles, or cost-sharing. Medicare has all the above, she says. All seniors who don't also qualify for Medicaid have to pay a monthly Medicare Part B premium, starting at $203 a month, tied to income. Seniors who enroll in traditional Medicare fee-for-service also have $1,700 plus deductibles for inpatient hospital care and no limit on out-of-pocket spending. They also have to purchase separate prescription drug plans whose monthly premiums range from $0 to $239 a month. About 40% of seniors in traditional Medicare buy supplemental insurance policies to cover benefits like dental and vision care not provided by the government and for protection against catastrophic costs. Seniors also have the choice of enrolling in privately federally subsidized Medicare Advantage insurance plans. About half of Medicare beneficiaries, and most of those with lower incomes, enroll in Advantage plans because they provide comprehensive coverage at a lower cost than fee-for-service. Mr. Sayed wants to eliminate all of these plans, Alyssa Finley writes in the Journal. He complains that lower-income Americans struggle to access doctors, but that's primarily because of the Obamacare Medicaid expansion and low government reimbursement rates for physicians. She says El-Sayed's idealized system resembles Medicaid, in which patients can wait months to see specialists. In single-payer systems in other countries where the government rations health care, wait times are even worse, like the Royal College of Emergency Medicine recently reported almost 16,000 avoidable deaths last year associated with long delays for Britain's National Health Service. So what he is saying to you is a lie. It's not Medicare for all. You will still pay. You will still have to pay all sorts of things out of pocket. It will not be free, and you will wait in long lines, and you can count on, because we have a lot more people in this country than in Great Britain, so I don't know, what's the population of Great Britain versus America? Multiply it out. They lost 16,000 people last year from avoidable causes because of their healthcare system's a single payer. So what do we lose? 45,000, 60,000, 80,000 people a year? Maybe more? Or is that their plan to save money? Finley concludes by saying the wealthy in countries with nationalized health systems can usually expedite health care by paying out of pocket to see physicians, while the rest of the folks are consigned to long waits for and substandard care. So remember this, too. Abdullah Sayed and his wife will not be on Medicare for all. They will be paying cash. They're fine. Last year they made $690,000 a year. They're fine. She doesn't take Medicare, Medicaid. She doesn't take any out of that stuff at all. She's a high roller, and her clients are high rollers. So it's for you. The slop is for you and me, not for them. Mark has chimed in on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. Let's talk to Mark here in Oak Lawn. Mark, you're on AM 560. The Answer. Chris Crock for Dan Proft.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call. You're doing a great job. Appreciate your feedback. Just a question. I'm a Catholic, and, we believe in the Trinity. which is the
I was
Father,
born and
Son.
raised a Catholic boy in Chicago myself. There's so many Roman Catholic Polish boys over there. I'm a Baptist now, but most of my family is still Catholic. Go ahead, sir.
Awesome. Well, we believe in the Trinity, which is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit is the love that the Father has for the Son, and that's where that comes from. And I'm just trying to, I know you mentioned about the Jews being the chosen people, and I know it says it in the Bible, and I understand that. But, I don't believe, the majority of the Jews don't believe in Jesus.
Yes, correct. Well,
And
not only that,
hard
but the
time-
majority of the Jews in Israel are secularist humanists. They're not even faithful Jews. They're not religious Jews.
Kristen, there's abortion over in Israel too.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
Yeah,
like
it's all-
over here. But my question is, how can they be the chosen people if they don't believe in Jesus Christ?
Well, it's not. That's an easy one. I mean, you look at whether it's not believing in Jesus Christ or whether it's just being, away from God. I mean, I fill in for my Sunday school class. I'm teaching this week and I taught last week, and then we're talking about judges and such in that time frame in the Bible, and somewhere between the periods of 350 BC and 150 or 50 BC, I can't remember the exact numbers, but is when the Israelites went away from God, got thwacked by God, punished, and came back to God, and they kept going away from God. And it's a cycle going up, down, up, down, up, down. And so they've always been the apple of his eye, whether they're disobedient or not. But we are in the same camp as far as, as Christians. Jesus was a Jew, So I don't know what else to say to you about that. But you can, God loves you whether you know Jesus or not. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so I also want to get into a few more things coming up next. I've got some audio of one more thing from Francesca Hong, who wants to cancel Thanksgiving, but then when she's called on it, she's not going to do that. Oh, what else do I have? I want to get into, a little bit more on Hong, but then coming up after that, the grocery store closures. I want to get into Mayor Brandon Johnson and the Chicago Public Schools saying, we just came up with $150 million out of nowhere. That the state of Illinois is going to write a check for us, even though nobody's agreed to that. All that's coming up. It's Chris Crock and for Dan Proft, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560 The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
They're still counting the votes in Michigan. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In a very close Senate primary,
We knew that this was going to be a close race.
and Democratic Congresswoman Haley Stevens is right now trailing Progressive Abdul El-Sayed by about 1 percentage point. He's backed by socialists.
We have a responsibility to assure that we unite to make sure that Mike Rogers never sees the inside of the U.S. Senate.
Rogers is the Republican running for that seat, now held by a retiring Democrat. And 2 progressives have done well in Michigan House races.
Donovan McKinney, who's backed by the Democratic Socialists of America, is leading incumbent Sri Thanadar by about 3 percentage points in the Democratic primary for the 13th congressional district. The race has split Democrats. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries backs Thanadar as progressives support McKinney. Sunrise Movement co-founder William Lawrence clinched the Democratic nomination for the state's 7th congressional district. Lawrence beat 2 establishment Democrats.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. Progressive lost to Missouri. Ex-Congresswoman Cori Bush failed in her attempt to win back a House seat, losing to incumbent Wesley Bell by more than 20 points. Voters in Missouri also said no to a ballot question to phase out the state income tax. A Republican Congressman, Chuck Edwards, has just announced early this morning in a post on X he's ending his re-election campaign in North Carolina after the House Ethics Committee had recommended Edwards be censured over sexual harassment allegations. The talks continue with Iran, trying to get oil and other shipping flowing again through the Strait of Hormuz. Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv.
President Trump indicated that a deal with Iran could happen as early as today. Speaking with Fox News, the president said that talks took place all day on Tuesday and that things are looking very good. He told Trace Gallagher what will happen if the Iranians back out of this agreement.
Well, if they back out again, they're going to get hit really hard. You know, they know that. They understand that.
America's listening to Fox News.
73 degrees. We've had light rain showers crossing the area. And there is a threat of severe weather in the forecast for today. A shelter-in-place order has been lifted, and a suspect is now in custody as part of a southwest suburb on Tuesday was locked down as several police agencies investigated a barricade situation in Homer Glen. Again, while the shelter-in-place has been lifted, the scene does remain active. A teen boy is dead after being struck by a truck while riding in an e-scooter on Chicago's north side this week. The 16-year-old was riding along Northwestern Avenue when the scooter lost control, and then the rider was struck by a semi. There have been at least 3 scooter or e-bike deaths in the Chicago area from Wakanda to the city in 2026. A man is charged in separate teen killings on Chicago's far south side. Anthony Nunnally faces 2 first-degree murder charges in shootings that happened nearly 1 year apart, September of 2024, and then last October when a 19-year-old was killed. 2 days after Secretary of State Alexei Giannoulias announced a bid for Chicago mayor, he joined Governor J.B. Pritzker at the signing of 2 insurance-related bills Tuesday, saying his support of those bills was not political at all. While officials argue the laws will provide affordability for policyholders, industry groups say the laws will have an inverse effect. Giannoulias then protested Republican comments, saying the bills were simply political fodder to boost his campaigns for Secretary of State and Chicago mayor. Chicago sports. Cubs were able to generate some late offense in a 5-1 takedown of the Dodgers at Wrigley. White Sox got embarrassed by the Red Sox at the Fens, 14-2. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. When you go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Virago and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
When it comes to supplements, two things matter most. One, that it works. And two, you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, I want to let my audience do it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and I'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Jim wrote in, he said he ran out of Relief Factor twice. Both times his ache and stiffness and pain came back. Once he restarted, he said, I felt better again. As Jim puts it, you know something's working when you run out of it. Jim, I can tell you that's exactly. I mean, I didn't run out of it. I just thought, my wife made me take it. I'm like, it's not going to work. And then I started feeling better, and I was like, well, I did my 3 weeks. I'm feeling better, but it's just me. I'm in a good spot. I stopped taking it, and it all came rushing back. That's how I appreciate what Relief Factor does, and it could change your life. They make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor helped you tackle your daily aches and pain. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Call 1-800-4RELIEF. Get the 3-week quick start, $17.76. 1-800-4RELIEF. ReliefFactor.com. We hope you soon will be sharing your story with us.
If moving safely around your home is a concern, you deserve clear answers, not a sales pitch. Access will help you improve home accessibility with practical solutions like lifts, grab bars, and home modifications, designed to fit your home, your needs, and budget. Experienced professionals will take the time to explain your options so you can make an informed decision. If staying safe and comfortable in your home matters to you, start with a free in-home consultation. Call Access at 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
Hey, y'all, I'm Willie Robertson.
And I'm Corey Robertson.
We partnered with Echo. It's a new platform, not just streaming.
Movies and series that are safe for your family.
Echo!
I love a podcast.
Plus, Echo Daily Devotionals.
Echo. Hey, Willie, what is Echo?
Echo is my pet squirrel. Okay, Doc. Echo is not just faith-friendly, it is faith-driven.
Be a part of something better.
Echo.
Echo.
That's where I want to be.
That's EKKL.com.
Subscribe now.
6:07. Had like rain showers crossing the area, and since about 12:45 this morning, the Reagan Toll Road I-88 eastbound between Eola and Route 59 was entirely shut down till about a half an hour ago. They have reopened the lanes, actually as of 5:51, so not more than 20 minutes ago. They've reopened things on the Reagan. Traffic is beginning to relax just a little bit, but again, it was blocked for several hours this morning. And the Reagan on the eastbound side also tapping the brakes at Route 31. So a mess beginning to resolve itself on the Reagan I-88 this morning. Stop and go traffic on the Stevenson inbound between Ashland and the Dan Ryan as well. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be mainly cloudy and humid with occasional rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on streets and highways. The temperature will reach a high of 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
This is AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. 312-642-5600 is our number. 312-642-5600. Chime in, text, etc. on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. In the meantime, I got a little bit more I wanted to do before I get into quote-unquote food deserts and the $13 million that was poured into Save-A-Lot stores that, well, failed. You will save nothing because there's nothing there anymore. Look at how great government is. Isn't it great? I mean, they can supply all your needs where there's a food desert. But what they don't answer and what the debate doesn't answer is, why is there a so-called food desert? That will be coming up in just a moment. But first, I had a little bit more. I have this. Here's a great example with the DSA folk and you have a DSA, like I think she's the number 2 person for the DSA, a woman, and she's debating with a Venezuelan-American guy who's with the Manhattan Institute. And on Martha McCallum's show on Fox News, this is a great short debate that encapsulates so much.
They promised us the same things that Francis is promising Americans, which is free housing. Everybody has a right to housing. Everybody has a right to food, right? We need government grocery stores. We created government grocery stores in Venezuela. We had government-run large enterprises, the banks, right? Because you need a loan for your business. You need free electricity, free water. And everything that was made free was something that disappeared. So we had blackouts. We had no water. We had no good quality housing. It was destroyed in the earthquake, by the way.
I'm going to pause this, because I read a really, really compelling article in the Journal maybe it was several years ago, when we were seeing the Venezuelan economy and government collapse into utter nothingness. It was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. There was a criminal, a Venezuelan gangbanger criminal, and he had his hands in his pockets, and he was lamenting to the Journal that he had one bullet left in his revolver, and that everybody he held up had nothing. There was nothing he could steal from anybody anymore. They had nothing. This is when the state bird, or the country's, whatever, the Venezuelan state bird, whatever you want to call it, national bird, the flamingo. They were finding flamingos dead in the streets, their breasts cut off for breast meat. That is how desperate socialism put its residents at. That's how desperate they are. The criminals can't rob anybody. When they do rob people, they got nothing. They got one bullet left. Nobody has a thing. The grocery stores, listen very closely to this. The grocery stores, when there was a mechanic who was interviewed in this article, and he says, my wife would take, our child to the grocery store. We get these vouchers from the socialist government of Venezuela, and she goes with my child or children, little children, to the grocery store. There is almost nothing on the shelves for her vouchers. What little is there, she gets with those vouchers, and then she, on the way home, gets robbed because she has something that people need. They rob her for her groceries. So he cannot work at his job on the days that the vouchers are in. So he has to take off from his mechanic's job and be with his wife to walk her to and from the grocery store so that she doesn't get jacked, so that they have something to eat in what is left in the barren shelves of the grocery stores that are communist socialist grocery stores in Venezuela. And he said his employer is growing, the patients from his employer is growing very thin, and he's close to losing his job. But he can't allow his wife to walk or go to the grocery store, to walk to the grocery store and come back, because she will get robbed. It's happened before. This is what the grocery stores, the free groceries, will get you. Now, before we get into the quote-unquote food desert and all these Save-A-Lot stores closing, a little bit more, I want to play the rest of this DSA versus the Venezuelan-American guy who's saying, what socialism did to him, why his folks fled from Venezuela to America.
Quality housing was destroyed in the earthquake, by the way. That is what they delivered. And by the way, that is what public housing in America delivers too. Frances said a few months ago in one of the DSA meetings that my colleague Stu recorded that she thinks every president of the U.S. since its founding has been evil. Frances, what makes you think, and why should Americans believe that you and your teammates at the DSA are not evil? Are you guys special, unlike all our presidents?
Let's give her a...
It's so funny because this white chick, born and raised in America, is lecturing this kid who fled with his family from Venezuela lawfully and legally to escape socialism that she's trying to create. You know what else is fascinating? Is a lot of these socialist communists are first-generation Americans. Here's a woman featured in the Wall Street Journal the other day. Her parents are from Iraq and Indonesia. They met in Alabama, settled in Orlando. Father drove truck, mother mostly worked restaurant jobs. She landed in Cornell after the school offered her a generous financial aid, quote, a golden ticket. Then came October 7th during her first semester in upstate New York, and she knew, this is me saying this, not them, she knew that the Jews, once they had to defend themselves from terrorists, that tipped her point. I'm going socialist. I'm going DSA. Quote, she says, it was just horrific. It probably has something to do with her parents most likely being Muslim, one from Iraq, one from Indonesia, which are both Muslim nations. Quote, it was just horrific, she said, of Israel's retaliation. She said it was horrific of Israel's retaliation. Notice this American, first generation, does not say it was horrific to see what Hamas did to the Jews on October 7th. It was horrific to see what Israel did in response to the genocide, the terror attack. If anybody's being treated genocidally, it's the Israelites. All you got to do is say to somebody, hey, what's the population of Gaza? What has the population been of Gaza over the past 30 years, 40 years? Show me the genocide. Genocide for dummies. Step one, Gaza. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, genocide. Where's the genocide? Other than 1,200 people being slaughtered. But she says it was horrific. She said of Israel's retaliation, not of what the terrorists did, Hamas. It was like you see a lot. Listen to this crazy, poor young lady. It's like you see a live stream genocide on your own phone. And the normal reaction for any person is like, how can I stop this? Can you freaking believe this? Did she not see, and she's probably like many of these people when this was all going on, with the terrorist Hamas intentionally recording and putting out on their GoPro cameras all of the vile terrorism, rape, murder, mayhem, hunting Jews and murdering them in the streets in cold blood. And that was not what outraged her. What outraged her is Israel defending itself. But a lot of these folks are first generation. This Francesca Hong, who apparently has secured the nomination for the Democrat Party, at least, a DSA, of course, person. She has secured, according to Fox News, I just saw that she's going to be the candidate for the gubernatorial race in Wisconsin on the Democrat side. Here she is, by the way. She's also first generation. And let me tell you something. Holy cow, I can't wait to tell you about my friend. This Francesca Hong is from Korea. Her parents are from Korea. One of my best friends from high school. He came here at 13 years of age, he didn't speak any English. A year or 2 or 3 later, I became one of his best friends. His parents worked their asses off in Wheeling, Buffalo Grove area where I grew up. As well, I spent my first 12 years in Lindenhurst. First 2 years in Chicago, then Lindenhurst. Then we went to Buffalo Grove, and then my parents went to Naperville. Now they're back in the city. But his mom worked at a Pizza Hut. And I can't remember what his dad did, but it was something, similar, really working his butt off. They saved up enough money one day to buy a small sushi place. And my friend, overnights, his parents allowed him to work overnights for his own business to make sushi. My friend and his fellow friend from where we went to Wheeling High School, they created a business that is wildly successful. And he's the first generation Korean American. I can almost cry. I love him so much. And he's done so much successful with his fellow partner. They do sushi at Navy Pier now. They do sushi at Sox Park. They do sushi at the United Center. They do so much more. And he is not a frickin' communist. He loves this country. He is this country. And I'm so proud to be his friend. I brag about him all the time. He's the American dream personified. And he doesn't look for a handout. He works his ass off. And he's become very successful. I look at my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. My son's engaged and has been with his high school sweetheart since day one. Her parents, mom was born here, but her parents were from Korea, and dad was born in Korea. And nobody's more conservative Christian than my soon-to-be, in-laws. And then you see this Francesca Hong, a first-generation Korean, and she's this freaking Marxist communist socialist. It's wild. Listen to this twit tell you how she wants to cancel Thanksgiving. Or actually, she did say she wanted to cancel Thanksgiving, but then she was called out on fake news CNN about this.
You talked about your past positions that he keeps highlighting and, obviously likely would continue to do so before November should you win. One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted. Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef, and one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal. I always think my husband...
She's dancing. I'm a chef. Okay, but you said we should cancel Thanksgiving. In fact, the Wall Street Journal columnist James Freeman calls it the 1621 Project. Francesca Hong, in a since-deleted 2020 social media post, said, quote, cancel Thanksgiving, period. Should have done this in 1621. If it takes a worldwide pandemic for us to realize we should stop celebrating colonialism and the original super spreader event that killed indigenous folks with an X, which is some signal of inclusivity to LGBTQ people, indigenous folks and women, so be it. Continuing on, she says, should we cancel Thanksgiving? You still think that? Well, so I'm a chef.
Hospitality background and owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing.
Wait a minute. She talked about her restaurant. She opened a restaurant like a good socialist and paid what she considers a livable wage. And the place closed because she ran it like a good socialist. She didn't have government money backing her restaurant. Just like a grocery store in a so-called food desert in Chicago, the government money does not solve the problem. And the problem is not a food desert. The problem is a grocery store can't function at 1% to 2% profit margins when there's high crime. When the insurance rates premiums are skyrocketing because of high crime, when there's a high incidence or high incidences of theft, when there are thugs coming in and beating people up, when they have to hire extra security. Shrinkage, which means theft. There is no such thing as a food desert. There is a lack of an environment for a business to succeed. There is by definition, a business that sells groceries cannot succeed at a 1% to 2% profit margin if there's high crime. There is not a food desert. There is a lack of the government to do its job. And the government of the city of Chicago's job and the county of Cook's job is not to provide freaking grocery stores. It is to provide an environment for grocery stores to be able to sell groceries to us and make a profit doing it because we're a capitalistic society. And when you see the government of the city of Chicago and the county of Cook paying for grocery stores to the tune of revitalizing them or revamping them, whatever, $13 million, and they don't solve the crime problem, and they don't solve the issues that make a business profitable, then you have a food desert, which is no such thing. What it is a crime. It's a crime island. It is not a food desert. It is a crime island. So what you're trying to do is build a grocery store on a crime island. And so if you build a grocery store on a crime island, the grocery store can't succeed. And when the government says, the city of Chicago says, we're going to give you $13 million, we're going to revamp all this stuff. Oh, isn't that great? What happens when the crime problem still persists? What happens when shrinkage, a.k.a. theft, still persists? What happens when security guards have to get hired and hired and hired, and theft and theft and theft and crime, and their insurance rates skyrocket? What happens? It is a crime island. And no grocery store can operate on a crime island, and you can bail it out, and you can put $13 million into it. But the problem is, in 6 months, it's going to need another $13 million. 6 months, it'll need another $13 million. You got to keep propping up a grocery store that is not profitable because it is located on a crime island. Not a food desert. It's on a crime island. That's what's happening. That's what the answer is. You can chime in right now. I'd love to hear from you at 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Oh, we got Marty in Naperville, Nick on the northwest side, George in Naperville, and your call as well coming up, or your text on the text line. It's the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. All that coming up right after this, as well as, oh my gosh, so much more. I can't wait to give you details on some of these great columns. There was a great one in the Chicago Contrarian about the, quote, root cause of food deserts in Chicago. All that next. Chris and for Dan, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
Hey, did you ever track down that missing warehouse key?
I forgot all about it.
You forgot? You said that guy was furious when you had to let him go.
That doesn't matter anymore. Goldilocks set us up with new managed access control. We're keyless now. Everyone has a card or fob. Even their phone works.
Huh. You don't have to worry about people copying keys either.
Yeah, never again. Goldilocks allows me to handle everything from my phone or laptop. I can see who came into the building, when they left, restrict their access at night. I can grant temporary access to visitors, too. It takes 30 seconds to add or remove someone.
That sounds a lot safer and simpler.
Stop guessing who has access to your building. Set up access controls today by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, that's 708-889-5600, or visit GoldilocksInc.com. Goldilocks. Security under your control.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Temperatures are rising, and so are concerns about inflation, market volatility, and taxes. Revisit your financial plan this summer. VestGen Wealth Partners work with individuals to develop personalized plans that help navigate changing conditions with confidence. Visit GetRetiredStayRetired.com to learn more.
Advisory services offered through VestGen Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and VestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. VestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
Hamilton Sunstrand Corporation has an opening for a principal engineer, software engineering in Rockford,
Milford, Illinois. Job duties include designing, developing, documenting, testing, control, and diagnostic systems that contain logical and mathematical solutions. This position requires a bachelor's degree or its equivalent in computer science, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, or related field, and at least 8 years of progressive experience as a software engineer or related role in the aerospace, defense, automotive, or medical industries. In the alternative, at least a master's degree or its equivalent in computer science, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, or related field, and at least 5 years of experience as a software engineer or related role in the aerospace, defense, automotive, or medical industries would be acceptable. Salary range is $135,262 to $204,500. Apply for this position at careers.rtx.com by entering keyword or job ID 0186239.
AM 560, The Answer.
What is the root cause of a food desert? Coming up next, plus Marty, Nick, George, all your calls. It's Chris Crock and for Dan Proft. By the way, follow me on social media at Chris Crock Show, at Chris Crock Show, X, Facebook, Instagram, and the podcast is on YouTube and Rumble at Crock Talk, KROKTALK. Time now for the news with Mike Scott on AM 560, The Answer.
Area, and we have 73 degrees and the threat of severe weather in the forecast for today. Abdul El-Sayed is now the projected winner of Michigan's Democrat U.S. Senate primary. The socialist El-Sayed has defeated Democrat establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens in a closely watched contest. El-Sayed will face Republican Mike Rogers. Also on a key primary night, Congressman John James wins going away the GOP primary for governor in Michigan and is ready to challenge Democrats.
We offer freedom, they offer socialism. We offer change, they offer continued decline. We offer common sense, they offer crazy.
James facing off against Jocelyn Benson in November. In Missouri, Congressman Wesley Bell easily trounced former Congresswoman, progressive Democrat Cori Bush in a Democrat primary rematch. Bush saying Missouri eventually will be in good hands.
St. Louis, you deserve a representative that sees you, that hears you, that cares about every single one of you.
Bell takes on Republican candidate Paul Berry III. President Trump is now in Las Vegas this morning after speaking at a RNC event at the Trump National Golf Club in California Tuesday. That trip came after it was reported that a man was arrested in Los Angeles, appearing to be monitoring security and planning activities leading up to the president's arrival. The suspect was reportedly found carrying magazines and a loaded weapon. Todd Blanche's nomination moving forward in Washington. Senator John Cornyn of Texas says the controversial anti-weaponization fund is dead and expects the administration to live up to that in future litigation.
While this may sound like nitpicking to some, it's critically important not only to me but to other members of the Senate.
The Senate Judiciary Committee voting 12-10 along party lines to advance Blanche's nomination. Sturgis, South Dakota, getting ready for the start of its famous motorcycle rally. Kickoff events get underway today for the 86th annual Sturgis Rally, officially running from August 7 through the 16th. Growing calls for his resignation are now plaguing Illinois House Speaker, a suburban representative, Chris Welch, when an investigation and a report into allegations of sexual harassment against former Democrat Representative Harry Benton was released. Late yesterday, Governor J.B. Pritzker said there's more to be seen before he or anyone else should call for Welch's resignation, in spite of that report detailing inaction by Welch's office 3 years ago. Chicago sports, Cubs able to generate some late offense, and they take down the Dodgers 5-1 at Wrigley. White Sox embarrassed by the Red Sox 14-2 at Fenway. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. You can join today, 560theanswer.com/join. Check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Alex Marlow understands why Iran is still fighting.
They see it as a win-win, and they see that they can beat Trump in a attritional manner. Basically, they can hold on longer if they're willing to hold on longer. And we lose the war at home, the PR war, then they feel like they can declare victory. And so the longer they can drive this thing out, the better. That's their approach.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Huber with Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Did you know it has 23 natural ingredients in it that work together synergistically? We have nutraceuticals like quercetin, luteolin, fisetin, and lactoferrin. Each of them has such great properties in themselves. Together, they synergistically create a really powerful super immune boost. Not only that, Virago includes specialized mitochondrial energy factors like R-alpha-lipoic acid, CoQ10, and resveratrol to give your cells the energy they need to power your immune system. The ultimate immune boost starts with Virago. Discover Virago today. Join me Friday, August 28th at Sean Fest and hear me interviewed by the great Sean Thompson, a true patriot.
Order your bottle of Virago today. Visit myvirago.com. Use the coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer Line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselius.
This is the Sheriff's Office. We have a report of missing employees at Hasselius Mattress.
Yes, Hasselius Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
You're confessing?
That's how we keep our prices way low. And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
Sounds suspicious.
Free next day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hasselius Mattress delivery truck to my house.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasselius.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
6:37, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. On the Kennedy, inbound, an earlier accident swept out of your way, but delays remain inbound right near Harlem Avenue. Stevenson slows up on the inbound side, Ashland into the Ryan merge. And in Hanover Park, report of an accident, Irving Park and Old Salem Road. Traffic, a service of Lowe's. Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list, handwritten on a sticky note, maybe a photo? Perfect. Bring it in, get a quote in minutes. Plus, access to thousands of products beyond what's in store or on Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Cloudy and humid. Some rain, maybe a thunderstorm with a high near 82.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. 312-642-5600 is our number. That's 312-642-5600. You can text or you can call, etc. The Alpha Wealth Group answer line. In fact, in just moments, we will go to Marty, Nick, and George, plus your call. But first, interesting tonight, or I should say last night into this morning, as I was reading, the Chicago Contrarian has an article written by George Shea that's fantastic. entitled, the quote, root cause of food deserts in Chicago. And then similarly, CenterSquare.com has Chicago store closures reignite debate over taxpayer-funded food access. And they both have the same explanation. Because there's no such thing as a food desert. There is such thing as creating an environment where a company cannot make a profit selling groceries at a, which is a profit margin of 1% to 2%. And it can't be done when crime is high, when theft is high, when insurance rates are high, when you have to pay a lot of money for security, and it's inhospitable. It is not a food desert. It is a crime island. And where crime islands are, grocery stores cannot exist. And when you prop them up with Chicago subsidies to the tune of $13 million, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's like trying to polish a turd. Good luck with that, because you're going to need another $13 million and another $13 million and another $13 million because you're not solving the problem. The city of Chicago should not be trying to bail out grocery stores or pay for grocery stores to stay open. The city of Chicago should be solving the problem with businesses being unable to be profitable in parts of the city of Chicago. That's it. That's why these places are out of business, because they cannot sustain a grocery store because it's a crime island. So let me share a little bit with you before we go to your call from the Chicago contrarian, George Shea first. These stores were supposed to be the solution to Chicago's food deserts. But they never asked the question, why do the grocery stores leave in the first place? Why would you want to ask why they left? Just throw money at it. That'll do it. It's a food desert. No. He says every additional expense, higher insurance premiums, employee turnover, security guards, surveillance equipment, vandalism, lawsuits, inventory losses that retailers politely call shrinkage. The corporate site selection today, as he says, is driven by data, not politics. When I was fresh out of college at Western Illinois University back home in Chicagoland, I worked part-time at a little pea shooter station in Waukegan, doing a little talk show action there at a rink, a small little pea shooter in Waukegan. But in addition to that, I drove folks around that were getting rehabilitation from strokes and other different things. And one of the guys that I had the privilege of driving home and picking up a lot was a guy who owned multiple McDonald's franchises. And can't remember the exact towns, but I want to say somewhere, maybe around Mundelein, somewhere in that area, that neck of the woods. And he started out, and he worked his way up at McDonald's, and he started out like as a fry cook and worked all the way up, became management, and then eventually became an owner, and then eventually came to own 3 McDonald's franchises. And one of the things this thing makes me think about is what he told me. And you know this. McDonald's, they do not build a store anywhere or a location anywhere until they know it'll succeed. They have a formula. The formula is driven by data. Just like this columnist George Shea says in the Chicago Contrarian today. Grocery store selection sites is driven by data, not politics. Same thing with McDonald's. Same thing with any franchise that wants to be profitable. He compares, for example, in Lincoln Park, they don't have a problem with groceries and grocery stores. Why? Because they don't have a massive crime problem like they do in other parts of Chicago. He talks about they have a Jewel Osco, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Fresh Market, because grocery companies expect those stores to make money. South Shore or Orland Park, well, they expect strong customer traffic, low operating risk, and reasonable return on investment. He says every dollar spent replacing stolen merchandise, hiring security guards, installing surveillance systems, repairing vandalism, paying higher insurance premiums is a dollar that isn't available for profit. And profit is not an evil word. It's not a bad word. That's my saying. My word's not his. He also says subsidies can reduce the cost of opening a business, but they cannot permanently eliminate the cost of operating one. Eventually, subsidies run out, and that's why these places have failed. And that's why we've whizzed away $13 million on grocery stores. He says what the government can't subsidize indefinitely is unsustainable business models. The first responsibility of city government is not running grocery stores. It's creating the conditions under which grocery stores want to operate without subsidies. That means safe streets, reliable law enforcement, economic growth, customers with disposable income. And that means don't build a grocery store on a crime island. He says high crimes drive paying customers, investment, and taxpayers away while driving up security costs, insurance costs, and shrinkage. Amen. The Center Square column today says the same thing. It says closure of 7 Save-A-Lot grocery stores in Chicago's south and west sides, operated by Yellow Banana. Chicago invested $13.5 million, we'll round it to 14 actually, to renovate 6 of the 7 locations, quote, food deserts, dumping millions upon millions of dollars into these stores without addressing the root causes of grocery unaffordability, like city regulations, high taxes, crime. Without addressing these things, just dumping more money into artificially inflating these grocery stores, not going to save the problem, says one of the guys they interviewed for Center Square. Why isn't the city addressing the root cause, which is why businesses aren't locating there in the first place? So just remember that there's no such thing as a food desert. No such thing. It's a crime island. All right, let's take some of your calls here. Let's go to Marty in Naperville, who's chimed in on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. Hello, Marty. You're on AM 560 The Answer. Chris and Verdan. Hello, sir. How's Naperville this morning?
Good. Starting to drizzle. 3 quick things. Number one, a couple of 200 some odd years ago, Ben Franklin, I believe, said, "Okay, here's your republic. Now let's see if you can keep it." So we see where that's going.
Yeah.
Number 2, don't we already have food pantries available for people? And number 3, for my job, I drive all over the city. Nobody in this city is starving. Nobody.
No.
And nobody is starving. There's no bodies on the ground from people who can't eat. In fact, there's a whole lot of overweight people.
Yes.
That's not politically correct, but I don't get this need for everybody with free food. There's so I don't know. But food pantries, go to a food pantry.
That's exactly right. Go to the food pantry. We're a first world country. Figure it out. This is America. This is not some third world country.
The biggest expense, Chris, in these stores is going to be, if you're going to have frozen foods and cold foods, is when the refrigeration goes out. What that's going to cost to fix, and where does that money come from?
Yeah. Well, if you're in a crime island, it'll come from the city if they want to keep it going. I appreciate your call. I appreciate your call, Marty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, let me see here. There we go. Okay, let's go to Nick actually, first, hold on. Let's see real fast. Let's go over to Carrie. Oh, I was just by Carrie at Lake in the Hills, not too far from you. Chris, you're on AM 560 The Answer, Alpha Wealth Group answer line. Hello.
Hey, good morning. I deal with these grocers every day, like Pete's, Fresh Market, Tony's, Cermax, Fiestas, a lot of the independents. And they do extensive research before they ever go into an area. In fact, they walk away from more locations than they accept because their studies indicate that at least their store, for what they sell, probably is not going to work in that area. And then they look at, like, just what we're talking about. They look at what their capital investment is going to be and the return. And, in these high crime areas, they don't want to touch it. Pete's is one of the exceptions. Pete's Fresh Market, he goes into a lot of areas and provides a lot of opportunity, but most of the others walk away. So it's a real thing out there.
And this is a capitalist country, at least for now, and nobody should be forced to do anything. And a company shouldn't be forced to be in an area where it's high crime. If it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them. That's the other thing, too. You see, I've seen older persons go after, Walgreens and other ones that closed, but the city won't put its criminals in jail. They won't prosecute people for shoplifting. But then they bully and cajole Walgreens or whatever location would be for closing. Well, it's like, again, the city is not providing an area where business can succeed, so they're going to close. That's just how it is. And instead of fixing the problem, they just want to end the problem, I guess. I'm sorry, subsidize the problem. Appreciate your call, sir. Let's go to George in Naperville. George, you're on AM 560 The Answer. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. Hey, George.
Good morning, Chris. Yeah, it's a shame that communist chef / politician in Wisconsin didn't say the Packers should refuse to play on Thanksgiving. They throw her out of the state.
There you go. I appreciate your call, sir. Let's go to Nick, who's chiming in here from the Northwest Side. Nick, you're on AM 560 The Answer. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. Hello, Nick.
Hi. You're doing a nice job. You always do.
Thank you.
And I hope Dan is okay at the golf course or wherever he's at. Watch out for the lightning when you raise up the club. If you see something up in the sky, a bright thing, run.
That's right.
Anyway,
that's right.
Yeah.
You're making me think of Caddyshack.
Yeah. Enjoy your day off, and you deserve it.
Yes.
I originally called and to make a quick comment about the Gaza situation, where the Israelis, what are they supposed to do? They're innocent people, about 1,200 were brutally, sadistically killed and tortured. And what are they supposed to do? They found out, and that equivalent in America would be like 40,000 people.
Right.
And then as the Israelis learn more and more that there's an elaborate system of tunnels that these Hamas people, which stands for Islamic Resistance Movement, not trying to find some way to work with people, but try to resist working with people. What is Israel supposed to do? Send their soldiers in and try to nicely get the 251 hostages out and find them? Are they going to be just handed over? No. So it's unfortunate that so many innocent, and it's true, a lot of innocent Palestinian people, the children, for example, what fault is it of theirs who are Palestinian to be killed and permanently crippled? But unfortunately, there's like in any war, there's very limited options sometimes. And then with these food deserts, I mean, God Almighty, I've been hearing this term. It's like they can't find any other way to show the irresponsibility of all the way back to being living history, growing up in the 50s and seeing the weak system of education and discipline to the people, especially the black community. I've talked about it back in the mid-'60s when I was in high school, that what are these kids going to do? Come out with a poor education or non-educated, and where are they going to go for a job? And then the Democrats already then were cultivating people like, hey, don't worry, we'll put you on welfare, we'll help you out. Well, that's not help. When you
let me say this. Let me say this. Yeah. You said the food desert. You said I don't know where they come up with these terms. It is a leftist term that they coined to try to make it look like this is something they're fixing, as if there's something bad going on with why there's not food. It is a leftist term for political purposes, just like the phrase, another phrase the left makes up, which is total BS, which is the school to prison pipeline. That's another one of these lies from the left, that there's some kind of a school to prison pipeline. There is no such thing as a school to prison pipeline. There is people that get into trouble, people that are troubled, that don't have a daddy in the house, they act out, they get in trouble, they get kicked out of school for righteous reasons. But there's no school-to-prison pipeline. It's called there's not a daddy in the household, there's no discipline in the household, and that's somebody acting out in school. So they make up a title called school-to-prison pipeline, which is false. It's a political term, just like they make up a term called food desert. It's all for politics. It's all for their political purposes. I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you too. Thanks, bye. Okay, got several lines open now at 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Coming up next, Mayor Johnson, quote, turns up the heat on Springfield to deliver $150 million to fund the CPS budget. What? Why are you turning up the heat on the state? Why is it the state's fault? You guys made a fake budget up that said that the state owes you $150 million. You just made up a fake bill. They don't owe you squat. The people of the state of Illinois don't owe you squat. We'll get to that coming up next. Chris in for Dan, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them.
right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
MyPillow is celebrating our country's 250th anniversary with savings up to 50% off their made-in-the-USA products. For example, get the queen-size premium MyPillow for $18.98 and the king-size for just $1 more. Get body pillows with a free pillowcase for only $39.98. Get the MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99 and $80 off the MyCross. All made right here in the USA. But there is so much more. In fact, they have over 200 products. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Chicago or call 800-489-0201 to check out all of the great products they are offering. Get everything from MyPillow blankets, sleepwear, kitchen towels, mattresses, duvets, pet beds, comforters, couch pillows, bathrobes, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code Chicago to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products.
Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, offers Chicago businesses relationship-first banking. Signature knows your name and your story because personalized banking still matters. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature is where I do my business banking.
Hi, I'm Phil Silverman, CFO of Chicago Atlantic and a client of Signature. We provide capital solutions in markets where risk is often fundamentally mispriced and traditional financing can be limited. At Chicago Atlantic, success depends on experience, responsiveness, attention to detail, and an entrepreneurial mindset. That's exactly what we found with Signature. Their team understands how we operate, supports our growth, and delivers the kind of personal service that's increasingly rare in banking today. And that's exactly why we bank with Signature.
Signature helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, at 773-467-5600 or visit signature.esquirebank.com. Esquire Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Picture this, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 2 outs, and the IRS is on the hill throwing nothing but heat and chin music. Back taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens. You're down in the count. Time to call in a pinch hitter. At PJN Tax Solutions Group, we are your pinch hitter. We deal with the revenue officers so you don't have to. PJN Tax Solutions Group is a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. When the IRS tries to steal home with your paycheck, we throw them out. When they load the bases with bank levies and wage garnishments, we strike them out.
Strike 3, you're out.
It's a full count and the game is on the line. Are you stepping up alone or are you bringing in a professional? Call PJN Tax Solutions Group now, 630-415-5296. Again, 630-415-5296, or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
AM 560, The Answer.
Well, Abdul Sayed in Michigan officially says as of 45 minutes ago that he won. No one's called it yet, but probably, I'll be surprised if he doesn't win it, unfortunately. But there is. We'll get into that a little bit later. Also, Mayor Johnson demanding $150 million from the state, even though it's the Chicago Board of Education's decision to ask for money when nobody's allotted it to them, which is ridiculous. Also, another top Brandon Johnson person in his office is out, resigning from the Office of Budget Management. Ruh-roh, all that next. First, it's Chris and for Dan on WIND Chicago.
He just declared victory. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Abdul El-Sayed, the progressive Democrat running for Senate, backed by socialists in Michigan, posted on X minutes ago, "We won," though votes are still being counted after he said last night.
We are not a purple state. We are a state in need of a movement.
Abdul El-Sayed has a 1 percentage point lead over Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who remained confident last night that she'll win the primary.
We are going to have to get ready and show Mike Rogers what a little stick it to him looks like.
Mike Rogers is the Republican running for that Michigan Senate seat, now held by a retiring Democrat, and he just told Fox if he faces El-Sayed in November.
This is really about the heart and soul of our country. I have never seen someone so radical, so extreme, get nominated by a political party.
Republicans need a new candidate for a House seat in North Carolina. Congressman Chuck Edwards announced on X early this morning he's ending his re-election campaign amid sexual harassment allegations that led the House Ethics Committee to recommend Edwards be censured. President Trump is still giving talks a chance to work out a nuclear deal with Iran and reopen the Strait of Hormuz to oil and other shipping, telling Fox,
"The only thing that matters is action, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. If they don't make a deal, it's going to be too bad."
Warning Iran, the U.S. will hit them again very hard. The president said that in an interview at his California golf club near Los Angeles, where a few days ago a man was arrested.
Investigators say they found hollow point ammunition in his pocket and a gun in his car. Now, this all happened Sunday afternoon when plainclothes federal agents alerted the Los Angeles Sheriff's Office after spotting someone walking on the golf course grounds. They believed the suspect was taking photographs and videos and appeared to monitor security.
That's Fox's Natalie Chuck. That suspect facing numerous felony charges. And President Trump, he spent the night in Las Vegas, where later today he'll give a speech on the economy. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. We've had a threat of severe weather enter the forecast and multiple rounds of showers already this morning. A shelter-in-place order has been lifted for parts of a southwest suburb, Homer Glen, as several police agencies descended on a neighborhood Tuesday afternoon around 3 p.m. Will County Sheriff's officers and others responded to the 13,000 block of Maverick Trail in Homer Glen to assist with the person who had barricaded himself inside a house on that block. Again, while the shelter-in-place has been lifted there in Will County, the scene does remain active. A teenage boy is dead after being struck by a truck while riding an e-scooter on Chicago's north side. It happened Monday in the 4100 block of Northwestern Avenue. The scooter rider lost control and then was struck by the semi, pronounced dead at a nearby hospital, and there is an investigation ongoing. Former top Chicago public school official is accused of massive COVID-19 fraud. Crystal Cooper was indicted on 3 counts. Prosecutors say beginning in June of 2020, Cooper obtained more than 2 pandemic-related loans by falsely reporting the amount of revenue generated by a side business that she owned. Cooper has pleaded not guilty. A special investigative committee is scheduled to meet this Thursday to begin inquiring about alleged financial misconduct of another state lawmaker. State Representative Carol Ammons, a Democrat from Champaign, and her husband Aaron, who serves as Champaign County Clerk, were both federally indicted early last month. State Representative Adam Nienberg tells us this morning how the House investigation will be handled this week.
It's up to us, the folks on the Special Investigation Committee, to decide if these charges warrant another committee for disciplinary actions.
An equal number of Democrats and Republicans will gather in Springfield Thursday to begin that House investigation into the federal prosecutor's charges. Chicago sports, Cubs over the Dodgers 5-1. White Sox embarrassed by the Red Sox 14-2. The news, a service of Goldilocks, offering Chicagoland state-of-the-art smart security systems to protect your home or business. AM 560 listeners receive 3 months of monitoring free with new installs. Peace of mind. Goldilocks, 708-889-5600. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags.
The TV tide is turning, and millions of Americans are tuning to Salem News Channel. For breaking news, common sense analysis, and the conservative voices leading the conversation, SNC delivers the stories that matter most. Watch Scott Jennings, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, and many others tackling the issues facing our nation. Stream free on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, the Roku channel, and more. Salem News Channel, the news you want, the perspective you trust.
When it comes to supplements, 2 things matter most. 1, that it works. And 2, you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, I want to let my audience do it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and I'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Jim wrote in, he said he ran out of Relief Factor twice. Both times his ache and stiffness and pain came back. Once he restarted, he said, I felt better again. As Jim puts it, you know something's working when you run out of it. Jim, I can tell you that's exactly, I didn't run out of it. I just thought, my wife made me take it. I'm like, it's not going to work. And then I started feeling better, and I was like, well, I did my 3 weeks. I'm feeling better, but it's just me. I'm in a good spot. I stopped taking it, and it all came rushing back. That's how I appreciate what Relief Factor does, and it could change your life. They make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor helped you tackle your daily aches and pain. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Call 1-800-4RELIEF. Get the 3-week quick start, $17.76. 1-800-4RELIEF. ReliefFactor.com. We hope you soon will be sharing your story with us.
For over 40 years, the Heartland Institute has stood for the ideas that built this country. Free markets, limited government, and individual freedom. Now you're invited to celebrate that legacy in person. Join Heartland on Thursday, September 3rd for their 42nd anniversary benefit dinner at the historic Palmer House Hilton in downtown Chicago, one of the city's most iconic addresses for over 150 years. This year's keynote speaker is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has led Florida through 2 terms of record economic growth, making it one of the fastest growing states in the nation. The evening kicks off with a reception at 5, dinner at 6, an evening of great company, great conversation, and a shared belief in the principles that made America exceptional. Seats are limited, and they will go fast. Reserve yours today at benefit.heartland.org. That's benefit.heartland.org. The Heartland Institute's 42nd Anniversary Benefit Dinner, September 3rd, Palmer House Hilton, Chicago. Don't just believe in freedom, celebrate it.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Stevenson stop-and-go traffic inbound between Central and Kedzie, and you'll hit the brakes again right as you approach the Dan Ryan Expressway. Bishop Ford inbound on the brakes, Stony Island feeder into the Dan Ryan, and Lakeshore Drive this morning jams up northbound at Soldier Field. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone when you download the AM 560 mobile app, 560theanswer.com/mobile. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be mainly cloudy and humid with occasional rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on streets and highways. The temperature will reach a high of 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr, Faith, Family, Freedom. This Saturday evening at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. 312-642-5600 is our number, 312-642-5600. In between our talk of so-called food deserts, which are really just crime islands that chase away businesses, we have Abdul Sayed, the communist, socialist, Islamist candidate for Senate, already declaring victory about an hour ago, even though nobody's called it yet. It's literally about 16,000 votes separating the two, with 95% of the votes in. And I'm looking at still 95% of the votes in, and it's 16,000. It's literally looking at 716,000 versus 735,000, so it's just too close. Anyways, there he is, already calling it for you. You have the Islamist communist who loves Mao Zedong, who says America deserved 9/11, and so many more things. Hassan Piker is in Wisconsin. This is some really heavily produced, slickly produced smoke and mirrors by these folks. Here he is giving his speech for the lady for Hong in Wisconsin, for Democrat candidate for governor, who wants to cancel Thanksgiving, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here's what he said at a rally for her.
The reason why I brought up Michigan is because I think it was Michael Moore in 2016 who said, Michigan's not a swing state, and neither is Wisconsin. These are not swing states. They've been turned into swing states because they've left you behind. But we are going to bring back the working class to both Wisconsin and to Michigan. A Republican will never be elected in this state ever again once our movement is done.
Well, isn't it funny how they talk about working class people? I'm sure you've heard Dan talk about it. I'm sure he's talked about the New York Times story and all the research that they did on the Democrat Socialists of America Party. They are 85% white. They are doubly represented as far as the white population in their ranks. They have very little blacks. They are their education with college degrees and then with secondary degrees is double, in some cases even more than double, the average American population. So they're insanely white compared to the rest of the country. They're insanely educated compared to the rest of the country. They are not working people. They rack up massive debts in college, debt, and quit their jobs, get fired from their jobs, or just work as a barista and don't pay their loans and say, look, I'm broke, I can't afford a house. Well, maybe if you got off your butt and worked your ass off like the average American does to succeed in this country, you'd be something. But they are not working class people. It's a whole lie. We all know that. They're white, highly educated folks. And in some cases, like with Hong, there are these first generation folks whose parents came here from other countries, and they just despise this country. And a great comment was made about Hong is she from North Korea? Because her positions are certainly North Korean positions, not South Korean positions. I mentioned my friend a little earlier who's wildly successful, came here not speaking any English at 13 years of age from Korea. Wildly successful. Sushi business. And I'm so proud of my friend. He's been all over the news with his sushi business at Sox Park, at Navy Pier, United Center, and he's the American dream. He's the American story. Didn't speak a lick of English when he came here from Korea at 13. Became a friend of mine in high school, in Wheeling High School, where Charlie Kirk went. But I didn't know that until after Charlie passed, unfortunately. But I graduated much earlier before he did. But nonetheless, I wanted to get into this unbelievable idea because it is so crazy. I mean, of all the gimmicks I've seen, and I've been a talk radio host all over the country. I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth now, but I'm in Chicago, born and raised. Was on in Minneapolis, was on in Atlanta, Madison, Wisconsin, kind of all over the country, working my way up to become at Dallas-Fort Worth here for 16 years now. And I got to tell you, what I see with a Chicago Public Schools, literally Chicago Board of Education creating a budget that says we're going to come up with $150 million that the state's going to provide, even though they haven't passed it. And then there you go, look, there's our budget. It's fixed. Voila. And then sit there and say, we're counting on you, state of Illinois, to bail us out to the tune of $150 million. We're counting on you. We wrote it, and look, it's right here. We wrote it in the budget. See it right here? $150 million. It's in our budget. So we need this. We're counting on you. Why did they say $150 million? Why didn't they make it $300 million? I mean, if you're just going to make up a number, like we're seeing that they could have, a couple of $100 million of a hole. $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 million of a hole. Why wouldn't they just say write in that the state of Illinois is going to come up with $700 million? It's perfect. Just make up whatever number you want every year or twice a year, and just say, there you go, there's the budget, and the state of Illinois is going to come up with $200 million, $300 million. You'll never have a problem again. And then maybe you can get somebody like the Speaker, Emanuel Chris Welch, to say, yeah, I'm backing this. I'm going to push this through. And so this can be the new plan. Just write a blank check and say the state of Illinois is going to pay for it, even though they have not agreed to it. In the meantime, we have the CPS CEO, Dr. Macklin King, saying that Chicago Public Schools added nearly 10,000 staff and $4.2 billion in new spending since 2019, and yet enrollment dropped by more than 45,000 students over the same period. Can you believe this? They lost 45,000 students in 7 years while adding 10,000 new staff members. It's so unbelievable. I have to repeat it again. Listen to this. They lost 45,000 students at the same time, added 10,000 teacher or faculty members, staff members. It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle. We lose 45,000, we add 10,000 staff members. Board members backed Johnson. This is from Austin Bergen, the last word. Board members backed Johnson and the Chicago Teachers Union by rejecting Dr. King's plan. Instead, they passed a nearly $10 billion budget that reversed some of those cuts by assuming additional $150 million in state money out of thin air. It's just unbelievable to see the mayor stand up there and pretend like this is a plan. It's an unbelievable thing to have board members and the CTU to say this is their plan. It's unbelievable. It's comical. If it wasn't actually serious with serious effects. Connor Durkin in the City That Works Substack wrote, wishing more state revenue into existence. That's what exactly it is, wishing more state revenue into existence. Any supplemental appropriation passed in a fall veto session would need a 3/5 majority to take effect. So wait a minute. Do they even have 3/5 majority to push through $150 million. And does anybody in the state of Illinois that's not in the city of Chicago, or people in the city of Chicago, want to bail out this district? It's just unbelievable to me. It's amazing. Meanwhile, we know the Cook County property tax delays are forcing CPS to borrow money immediately, as Austin Berg writes, to fund future paychecks for teachers, scheduled to go out on September 4th. Everything is made up. Everything is mortgaged to the hilt. Everything's pushed to the future, and then they make up fake checks. They write up blank checks that aren't even, the budget isn't even there for. It's unbelievable to me. This from the Capital News, Illinois.com site, Brennan Moore. The Chicago board approved a budget that's relying on $150 million from the state that it's not allocated. House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch from Hillside told the CTU that he's committed to supporting a supplemental budget bill that'll increase funding for the district. I'm committed. You guys made up a number. I'm going to go find the money. One day later, listen to this. One day after House Speaker Chris Emanuel Welch said he's committed to finding the money, one day later, the Chicago School Board approved a budget that relies on state chipping in another $150 million beyond what's allocated. So it's just look at how that works. It's magic. I've just never seen, in my 25 years of doing talk radio in, like I said, Minneapolis, Atlanta, Dallas, I've never seen somebody, some entity like a school board make up a $150 million check and say the state's going to pay it without anything being provided. It's amazing. Voila. You know what else is interesting watching? Watching all the people flee the Brandon Johnson administration. Here's a great little commentary for one person on X. Watch Mayor Brandon Johnson tease off on a reporter who asks about the effects of Johnson's CFO, his deputy CFO, and budget director all resigning in recent weeks. And, of course, Brandon Johnson calls the question reckless and irresponsible.
But
right now.
Do you remember that I said the list that Marianne enumerated, the long list, is people leaving City Hall? And in sum, when you total that all up, I'm not talking about Ms. Guzman in particular, but the totality of those departures has to have some net effect, I would think. And I wonder if you think that too.
Do you want to know if those individuals who have transitioned out have an impact on me building the safest, most affordable big city in America? It hasn't, right? Because, again...
He literally, what happened was, it started out by saying, you know, you got all these people leaving. And and the mayor, a little earlier in the soundbite, attacked this guy, this reporter. Well, Miss Guzman needs to go. She's taking care of a family member, one of her parents, an elderly family. What's wrong with you? Why couldn't she go help her parents? Why can't she resign to go help one of her parents that's elderly and infirmed? And he's saying, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what I'm asking you about is all these people, the totality of people from your administration who have resigned. Do you not see this as a problem? But Brandon Johnson pretends it's a personal attack. Brandon Johnson pretends that it's about her, Ms. Guzman, leaving, when he knows it's about why is everybody around you fleeing your administration. Well, it's because the entire thing's a joke, because he's incompetent. I'll continue with this sound, but here we go.
Who have transitioned out have an impact on me building the safest, most affordable big city in America? It hasn't, right? Because, again, even with those transitions, has it stopped us from building affordable homes?
You have the second, I just saw something in the, I think, Illinois Policy Institute talking about how we are the state of Illinois is like the second worst for housing builds. And he's talking about making affordable housing. Illinois, I believe, is from my recollection of reading the article a little bit earlier today, was Illinois is the second worst for housing, to build housing and make housing affordable. The Rivian factory. I talked about in the article, the Rivian factory, people have to move because there's not enough housing. People have to move 48 miles away from the Rivian factory to move to get a job at the Rivian factory. 48 miles. Yeah, affordable housing. Yeah, right.
Has it stopped us from building affordable homes? It hasn't. Has it stopped us from investing in hiring more young people? It hasn't. Who put that vision forward? I did.
Whoa, you are so sneaky and smart. I did this. Yes, you did. Who's writing blank checks? I do. Who's the? By the way, he says we did this. Does the mayor have a mouse in his pocket? Everybody in his administration is resigning.
Has it stopped us from investing in public and mental and behavioral health services? It hasn't. Whose vision was that? That was mine.
Oh my gosh, dude, you're a freaking genius. You're brilliant. But he says we and us, and what do you mean we? Is there a mouse in your pocket? Because there's nobody around you. Everybody's resigning. CFO, deputy CFO, budget director, all resigning in recent weeks. This is what Johnson said. They have stability. They have stability in me. Even though he's not announcing if he's running again or not. But he condemned a question on how the revolving door under his administration affects relationship with aldermen as reckless and irresponsible. You can't ask him on how the revolving door of his administration might be affecting relationships with aldermen. You can't ask him that. He can't handle it. He's not deft enough to answer questions. He takes everything personally. Meanwhile, getting back to the Chicago Public Schools, this is great. We'll tell you about. I'll take a few calls, but then I want to get back to this. Former top Chicago Public Schools executive charged with COVID loan fraud. She was making $200,000 a year as a Chicago Public Schools executive, and it still wasn't enough. She still had to rip us off. Had to rip Uncle Sam off with a fake PPP loan for a side hustle. That business that she wasn't even allowed to be doing as a CPS executive. Let's go to your call. Let's go to Ron on the South Side. Ron, you're on AM 560. The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Chris. This whole thing with this budget, with the school system, it is the ultimate slap in the face to taxpayers. But first of all, I wish someone from Springfield would have the guts to tell Brandon Johnson, no, the whole school system, that how do you request $150 million when you have fewer students? There are 180 schools that have more seats than students.
Yes.
There are buildings that were built for 1,000 students with 8. But see, they need to present that to him, present the facts to him, because all he keeps saying with the state, you don't deserve the money. But then now, Chris, Brandon is going to give them that $150 TIF money. And you know, I wish there was a law. Yeah, because see, they factored that in the budget too. This is money they don't have. This is a three-card monopoly. This is just, a game being played on people. But lastly, I really wish there was a law that the money that is set aside for TIF, it be used for TIF. Other than that, this is just a game.
It's just amazing, though. It's just amazing that they literally made up a budget and said $150 million come from the state when the state has never agreed to anything. They don't even they have no idea what you're talking about. They just made it up. It's just amazing.
$250 from this and $250 from the TIF fund.
Yes,
it's a joke. Hey, enjoy you, Chris.
Thank you. I enjoy you too, Ron. Appreciate you, my brother. 312-642-5600 is our number if you want to chime in on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. Coming up next, I want to get into this top CPS executive charged with COVID loan fraud because her $200,000 a year was not enough. She had to rip us off and Uncle Sam off. We'll get into that coming up next. Plus your call at 312-642-5600. This is Chris Crock and Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer, Chicago's Morning.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
IT professionals with multiple positions or openings. Business intelligence analyst. Help define, refine, and drive BI strategy using various technologies. Develop, test, and approve highly complex models that evaluate risk and decisioning framework that generate revenue for new or existing products. Computer programmer. Write computer programs to store, locate, retrieve specific docs, data, or info using various technologies. Database administrator. Administer, modify, secure, tune, troubleshoot complex databases and make necessary modifications using various technologies. Network administrator. Build, install, configure, administer, maintain, and support various networks and network operating systems using various technologies. For all positions, must be willing to work anywhere in the U.S. Job locations in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and may involve relocation to various unanticipated client sites across the U.S. Specify job title and mail resume to Epcot Technologies Incorporated, 855 East Gulf Road, Suite 1141, Arlington Heights, Illinois, 60005.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only two good things about aging: wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock and Verdan Prof. Follow me on X, Facebook, Instagram, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrok. Also podcast on YouTube and Rumble at Crock Talk, KROKTALK. Former Chicago Public Schools executive charged with COVID loan fraud. I want to tell you about that. Flock cameras, are they bad? Are they good? And so much more. It's Chris Crock and Verdan Prof on AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Time now for the news with Mike Scott.
73 degrees in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, cloudy, humid, rain, maybe a thunderstorm, and a high near 82 today. Donald Trump says a deal on the Strait of Hormuz could come as early as today or tomorrow. The president says an agreement could potentially help bring an end to the war. Regional officials are telling the Associated Press this morning that an agreement emerging from talks between Iran and Oman would see ships enter the Persian Gulf through an Iranian-controlled route and exit through a route controlled by Oman. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russian missile and drone strikes on Kiev and its region have killed 17. Authorities have arrested a man who was walking on the grounds that appeared to be monitoring security at President Trump's California golf course ahead of the presidential visit. L.A. County Sheriff's Department says the man was taking photographs and had a 16-round magazine with ammunition in his pocket. Abdul Sayed is the projected winner of Michigan's Democrat U.S. Senate primary, although the race is not officially called. Haley Stevens and El Sayed are in a closely watched match to face off against Republican Mike Rogers. Also on a key primary night, Congressman John James wins the GOP primary for Michigan governor.
We offer freedom, they offer socialism. We offer change, they offer continued decline. We offer common sense, they offer crazy.
In Missouri, Congressman Wesley Bell easily defeats former progressive Congresswoman Cori Bush in a Democrat primary rematch. The Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee will vote on Thursday whether to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt. A teen boy is dead after being struck by a truck while riding an e-scooter on Chicago's north side this week. 16-year-old Alex Blasio was riding that scooter when he lost control and then was struck by the semi. There have been at least 3 scooter or e-bike deaths in the Chicago area from Wakanda to the city in 2026. 2 days after Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias announced a bid for Chicago mayor, he joined Governor J.B. Pritzker at a bill signing for 2 insurance-related bills. While officials argue the new laws will provide affordability for some policyholders, industry groups say the laws will have an inverse effect. Pritzker contends it's not the case.
Illinois regulators now have the tools to enforce those common sense principles with the power to object to rate increases.
Secretary of State Giannoulias says 48 other states similarly regulate insurers.
The cost of mandatory auto insurance has become absolutely unsustainable.
Giannoulias protested Republican comments that the 2 bills were simply political fodder to boost his campaigns for Secretary of State and Chicago mayor. The Bears have locked down their stellar right tackle. Darnell Wright officially was awarded a 4-year contract extension worth about $116 million at Halas Hall yesterday. Cubs 5-1 winners over the Dodgers. White Sox embarrassed by the Red Sox at Fenway 14-2. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher chooses his words carefully.
They're going to destroy President Trump's agenda with these DSA freaks who are winning elections all over America. And yes, I use that word carefully. After much consideration, freakish is the only way to describe a platform that advocates for the abolition of the presidency, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the borders, no police. These are a bunch of nutcases.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer. Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
Insurance came out about the roof. Offered us $15,000. I was thrilled.
I know it seems like a lot, but I'm not sure that number is that generous. Insurance is usually going to lowball you.
I mean, I already found 2 companies who could replace it for that.
Sure, contractors will make it fit that budget, but they're cutting corners to make it work.
How's that?
Cheap materials, lower grade shingles with a poor warranty, reusing old flashing, cheap underlayment.
How would I even know?
You wouldn't. That's exactly why I'd call New Edge Improvement. They'll go through your insurance quote line by line, catch what's being cut, and fight to get you covered. You have a beautiful home, and New Edge Improvement will do a quality install and help you get the roof you're owed. One that matches the quality of what you had.
Thanks. I'll give New Edge Improvement a call.
New Edge Improvement. Visit them today at newedgeimprovement.com. Again, that's newedgeimprovement.com and tell them AM 560 sent you.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
75 degrees in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Traffic is a service of Capital One. Route 53 accident on the left shoulder. Southbounders, you're tied up at Algonquin right now. Northbounders, you're jammed up from the Ike all the way to Kirchhoff this morning. West Chicago, report of an accident, Route 59 at North Avenue. And delays starting to show up on the Stevenson. Inbound between Central and Kedzie and on the Ike. You're jammed up in the Avenues 17th to Racine. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase with Capital One's VentureX business card. Big purchasing power means you can spend more and earn more. Capital One VentureX business card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, a check of your morning forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Cloudy and humid. Rain, maybe a thunderstorm with a high of 82.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. Well, flock cameras. I want to get into flock cameras, then I want to get into Iran. Coming up at 8:38, we're going to talk to Chuck DeCaro on. He just wrote some great stuff on what's going on with Iran and the war. He really buttresses in his column what I've been saying that I've learned about Iran, that if they literally survive, if the regime survives, for them it is a victory. That is their victory. Their victory is to be able to say, we did not get defeated. We stood up to the great Satan and we won. True, they can't win unless we let them. But they will say that, and for them, literally, survival is a victory. And so the day that hostilities or the war is over, whether it be in a week, a month, a year, 3 years, the day it's over is the day they declare victory. So I want to hit on that coming up next. But first, flock cameras. It's becoming all the rage. Now, I told you I'm Chicago born and raised. Was just there last week. We had a great surprise. Wedding anniversary and birthday for my mom, who I adore, and my dad. And so we were in Edison Park and at the celebration, surprising my mom. And I did horrible. I did not even mean to do a Harry Carey impersonation. We did a game show where you do the questions and answers. You separate the couple, the newlywed game. Except we called it the not so newlywed game because they've been married for 56 years. And I had my tacky game show host accent that just somehow turned into Harry Carey. And my uncle told me that was the worst impersonation of Harry Carey I've ever heard in my life. I said, "You're exactly right." But I'm out in Dallas. Came back, and one of the articles I saw here is we have flock cameras everywhere like you do. They're all over the country. We've been seeing stories about flock cameras. People think it's an invasion of privacy. People are against them. You have a story that was in the Dallas Morning News, I think, a day or two ago. They said there's about 67 of these flock cameras that have been destroyed. People are vandalizing them, cutting the cord, knocking them down, whatever they can do. So, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flock cameras in Dallas, as you would expect. City Journal writing a column about this. These cameras saved lives, but some want them banned. Well, here we go. Flock safety. They capture information about vehicles, not the people inside them as they pass. They get license plates, the car's make, model, color, distinguishing features, including bumper stickers, custom paint, visible damage. Now, it's funny because you got all sorts of people from all sorts of spectrums on the Republican and Democrat sides. You got Thomas Massie, who's a kook, Tim Burchett, who I'm a big fan of, Anna Paulina Luna, who I'm a pretty big fan of, and Chuy Garcia, Jesus Chuy Garcia, is against the flock cameras. You have quite the dysfunctional family here that are against them. The ACLU, Amnesty International, Americans for Prosperity. These are strange bedfellows. The National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers and the Democrat House Caucus in West Virginia, including the GOP's Freedom Caucus, are all against the flock cameras. Here's my thing. You have no expectation of privacy. You're in public. And if you don't want to be filmed or pictures taken or the ability for data systems to get your picture or see whose cars is where at whatever time, then don't go out. Don't go in public. I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, anybody can stand at the street corner and take pictures of cars. And the flock cameras are only used. There's two ways they're being used. Flock cameras are being used to solve crimes that if you are the one whose loved one is missing, murdered, victimized, or something happened, a rape, God forbid, you will want these flock cameras to be working. And you will want them to help catch the bad guy or bad person, whoever it is. If you're against them, I would just tell you, dude, you're out in public. You don't have a right to drive. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And you have no expectation of privacy when you're out and about in public. Now, the other way flock cameras are being used, and by the way, none other than the CWB Chicago just put this out. Quote, wonder how the anti-flock camera crowd feels about a cop being charged based on an investigation in which flock cameras played a key role. I read this story they're referring to in a second. This story is freaking vile. A veteran Illinois State trooper is accused of somehow drugging up a chick at a bar and sexually assaulting her. She awoke in her car with her bra on the passenger side and her shirt tucked in under one of her. I mean, it was completely obvious to her when she awakened, not knowing what the hell just happened to her, that she was sexually assaulted. And so she put things together, talked to people, and she found out that it was allegedly this Illinois State trooper. And the way, and she had barbiturates and cocaine in her system. And she said, I didn't touch cocaine, I didn't touch barbiturates. And that may be why she passed out. And they got footage of different places where she was, that this Illinois State trooper off duty, of course, allegedly took her. And one of the places the video camera, footage from wherever this, surveillance camera or whatever in the area showed was this poor woman was she tried to sit down and she fell on the floor because she was just so out of it. So what the CWB says, what was the linchpin in busting this state trooper for allegedly, an Illinois State Police master sergeant, for allegedly raping this woman? Flock cameras. They nailed this Illinois State trooper for alleged rape based on flock camera. Quote from the CWB Chicago, an Illinois State Police master sergeant has just been jailed on allegations he sexually assaulted a woman he knew from frequenting suburban bars. The woman suspects he drugged her, and toxicology test came back positive for barbiturates. Quote, CWB Chicago. Wonder how the anti-flock camera crowd feels about a cop being charged based on an investigation in which a flock camera played a key role. License plate readers are invaluable. Legislators should protect the data, not outlaw the tech, says CWB Chicago. I agree. And by all means, if you don't, chime in. 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600 on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. And City Journal talking about this. There's not a right to be. You have no right to not be photographed in public. Fourth Amendment is unreasonable search and seizure. What's unreasonable about somebody taking pictures of you when you're out in public? And again, the flock cameras don't take pictures of the person inside. It's the vehicle. By the way, the other reason they're used, there's two reasons they're used, because I'm not going to try to polish a turd here. There's two reasons the flock cameras are used. One is to catch criminals. The other one is for bad cops to use the flock cameras illegally to stalk people, because cops, there's bad cops too. Not nearly as many bad cops as people think, but there's bad cops out there. And, I've seen it, and you've seen it in the news, kind of popping up all over the country. One lady was stalking some lover who's a cop. She got nailed for that. Some guy was stalking some chick or something like that. You can't mess with these flock cameras if you're a cop, and if you're caught, you should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. You shouldn't be a peace officer if the investigation proves out that you abused using the flock cameras for personal use. You should lose your peace officer license. You shouldn't be able to be a peace officer anywhere. So it can be abused, and when it is, people are caught and they're nailed, and they should be. Scott is chiming in, of course, on AM 560 The Answer. Chris Crock and for Dan Proft. Hi, Scott. You are in Frankfurt.
That is correct, sir. Good morning.
By the way, do you know how I know that you're in Frankfurt? Do you know how I know you're really in Frankfurt?
I absolutely know. That's what I do for a living.
No, but do you know how I know that you're in Frankfurt? I personally know.
You know.
Flock cameras. I'm looking at you right now on a flock camera. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I know that's not possible.
I know.
Yes. So here's the thing about the flock. Yeah, I know 99% of cops use them for good, but the angle that nobody wants to talk about is when you crawl through Flock's documentation, and I've got some of it because there's a lawsuit in, and believe it's Wichita, Kansas, where the ACLU's involved, and they put out all their information. I mean, it's out there, it's public. But essentially, besides gathering your license plate reader, they don't need your face because they're grabbing your cell phone data, they're grabbing Bluetooth radio signals. Some of the systems can also grab the unencrypted radio signal that your tire pressure sensors use to communicate with your own vehicle's computer. They don't have to take your photo because they can build this profile of all these other electronic signatures. And then on top of that, let's say you and your beloved parents are traveling in a caravan somewhere and you pass a number of these, well, then they have this caravan ID. And then forevermore, your parents are known to be associated with you, whether or not they're actually even physically near you. But in this database, anytime somebody in law enforcement genuinely, legitimately has to do an investigation, well, all of a sudden your parents' names come out, and there's already lawsuits in, the ACLU is on, because you can find it in their documentation. Basically, that says that there's a couple in Wichita that was actually pulled over at gunpoint, forced out of their vehicle more than once, and the cops are saying, "Oh, maybe they should get a new license plate if they care about it." Well, maybe the database needs to be fixed, and this whole system needs to be rethought because now here's another angle. What about this angle too? What about hackers? How secure are these? Because there's lots of videos about these being hacked.
I'm going to reply. First of all, I appreciate your call on that. Thank you very much. I'm going to reply off the air, or on the air, I should say. First of all, I have a friend who was pulled over at gunpoint because he was mistaken because he fit a similar description. Had nothing to do with flock cameras. People getting pulled over as a suspect when they're not the suspect happens pretty frequently. Number two, what are they going to do with the information with my parents? They've done nothing wrong. Most of the flock camera agreements within 30 days are destroyed. Some cities are asking to hang on to the data for a year. I don't care because it's all in public. I have seen some of the stuff you talked about, wireless this or wireless that. But again, I don't Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about there's some. He's talking about a separate technology. There's a separate technology because I was reading about this, where some cars are equipped. Some police cars, new ones, are equipped with the technology that can get in on your cell phone action. I'm going to tell you what I know about that coming up next. But I have no problem. Most of the agreements, the flock, they record over it after 30 days, and it's only pulled if there is a crime that warrants looking into. Stand by. We'll talk to Glenn, who has a great story about they've done some amazing things, these flock cameras solving crimes. All that coming up next, plus your call at 312-642-5600 on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. It's Chris Crock and for Dan Proft, AM 560 The Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
When your joints hurt every day and you've been told you need surgery, do your homework. Once a joint is replaced, there's no going back. Hey, it's Dan Proft. Before you schedule surgery, get a second opinion from my friends at QC Kinetics. I personally recommend them. Whether you're dealing with pain from bone-on-bone arthritis, torn meniscus, or years of wear and tear, surgery isn't your only conversation. Talk to Dr. Caravelli and her team at QC Kinetics. They use regenerative treatments to deliver relief to patients like you. You'll start with a medical evaluation, reviewing your history, any imaging, and the actual source of pain. If you're a good candidate, they'll concentrate tiny healing tools within your body right in the spot that's causing pain. The whole idea is to give you a real shot at holding off on surgery, or in some cases, avoiding it altogether. Don't accept surgery as your only option. Call QC Kinetics today for a second opinion. The conversation and consultation are free, and weekend appointments are available. Call 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Once more, call 312-827-6261.
The IRS just lost thousands of experienced agents. Unfortunately, your tax debt didn't disappear with them. Right now, the IRS is understaffed and overwhelmed. Now is the time to put your IRS issues behind you. Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS? Has the IRS garnished your wages yet? Have they grabbed your bank account yet? They will if you ignore them long enough. This is Patrick Noon with PJN Tax Solutions Group. We are a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Listen, this is your window of opportunity. Our tax resolution team knows exactly how to leverage the chaos. But you need to act before the IRS regroups. Call us now. The IRS is in disarray. We are not. 630-415-5296. That number again, 630-415-5296. Or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny, and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny, new, gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix. And it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com. Or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff, probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right. Doing it right since 1959.
Are you slumpy?
Slumpy?
It's a made-up word to describe someone who's grumpy from a bad night of sleep.
Clever.
But Penny Mustard has discovered the cure for severe slumpiness.
Let me guess. A nightly dose of a double-sided hybrid mattress.
Made in Wisconsin.
And built to last 45% longer than the average unflippable model.
Ask your doctor about Penny Mustard. Hopefully they bought their mattress here too, because who wants a slumpy doctor?
Find a showroom near you at pennymustard.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. We will take a few more calls coming up next on the Flock Cams. Also, Tellerico, does he really have a chance of winning Texas, where I'm sitting? I will tell you all about that. And Iran. I have a lot to say about where we're at with Iran right now. That's coming up next in the 8 o'clock hour on AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris in for Dan on WIND, Chicago.
A progressive declares victory in Michigan. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Abdul El-Sayed, who's backed by socialists, posted on X this morning that he won the Democratic Senate primary, though votes are still being counted as he leads Congresswoman Haley Stevens by about 1%.
We have a responsibility to assure that we unite to make sure that Mike Rogers never sees the inside of the U.S. Senate.
Mike Rogers is the Republican hoping to flip that Michigan Senate seat, now held by a retiring Democrat. And Rogers tells Fox.
The DSA candidates in the state in two different congressional races look like they're pulling it off as well. The Democrat Party is lost to this hardcore socialist attitude.
The two candidates he's referring to are Donovan McKinney and William Lawrence. McKinney, supported by socialists, leads a House race in Michigan ahead of Congresswoman Sri Thanedar, who's backed by the House's Democratic leader. Lawrence is a progressive who won another congressional Democratic primary. In Missouri, though, progressive Cori Bush lost her comeback attempt trying to win a House seat back, losing by more than 20 points to Congressman Wesley Bell. Republicans need to find the new candidate in another state.
Congressman Chuck Edwards, the Republican representative from North Carolina's 11th congressional district, is ending his campaign for a new term. Edwards' decision comes after a House ethics panel found substantial evidence, in their words, the congressman harassed female staffers.
That's Fox's Eben Brown. President Trump's optimistic they could work out a deal as soon as today with Iran on reopening the Strait of Hormuz fully to oil and other shipping, as he also pushes to get Iran to denuclearize.
Well, if they back out again, they're going to get hit really hard. You know, they know that. They understand that.
He told Fox that while at the Trump Golf Club near Los Angeles for a fundraiser. 2 days after a man was arrested acting suspiciously at that golf course, found with gun and ammo. It follows 3 assassination attempts the past 2 years. The president tells Fox.
Well, the only thing I get a little solace from is they say only consequential presidents. And I am definitely consequential.
America's listening to
72 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Watch out for some heavy rain, maybe a thunderstorm later today with a high of 82. 2 are killed in a crash along I-88 early this morning near Aurora. Illinois State Police tell us the crash occurred around 12:45 in the eastbound lanes of I-88, the Reagan Toll Road, near Eola Road. It shut down the entire toll road for several hours. 2 vehicles involved in the crash. 1 vehicle caught fire. 1 person hospitalized in serious condition this morning after fire broke out at a downtown high-rise late last night. Chicago Fire says the blaze broke out in a residential building in the Streeterville neighborhood, 400 East Ohio. CFD found the fire inside a unit but did not declare officially a cause of that fire. A teenage boy is dead after being struck by a truck while riding an e-scooter on Chicago's North Side Monday night. It happened in the 4100 block of Northwestern Avenue. The e-bike rider lost control and then was struck by the truck, pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. There have been at least 3 scooter bike deaths in the Chicago area in 2026, and Chicago Fire says they've responded to nearly 600 incidents involving scooters this year. Chicago sports. Bears lock down their right tackle, Darnell Wright, 4 years, $116 million. Cubs, 5-1 winners over the Dodgers, while the White Sox were beaten by the Red Sox, 14-2. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And the Business Beat is a service of Signature, a division of Esquire Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Walt Disney is making more from its theme parks and cruise lines, and the huge box office performance of Toy Story 5 helped to push Disney's earnings higher. The movie passed $1 billion in global box office sales since its June 19th release. Disney shares are up 3%. Uber Technologies reported a stronger than expected profit, though Wall Street was expecting more revenue from the ride company and the stock is lower. Uber is seeing more growth in its delivery business, and it's adding more active users. SpaceX shares are slumping, down 11%. The space and satellite internet company reported record sales, but investors are concerned about its massive spending on its artificial intelligence buildup. Crude oil prices have moved slightly higher this morning. Brent crude at $80 a barrel. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda. Invested in you.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio with your host, Roger Piper. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about home improvement. Listen every Saturday at noon for Home Answers right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by CenterGuard Plumbing. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
QC Kinetics helps active people stay active. People like David Boardman, police officer, competitive athlete, and gym owner who trains hard almost every day.
My body's taken a lot of abuse over the years. I've had multiple knee surgeries on both of my knees. I could barely run a mile prior to going to QC Kinetics. Doctors have all told me, hey, you are going to need knee replacements.
But QC Kinetics gave David great news.
We're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
And after David's regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics?
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week. I really wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for QC Kinetics.
From knee pain to Ironman training.
It's a no-brainer.
Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics to book your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
When it comes to supplements, 2 things matter most. 1, that it works. And 2, you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, I want to let my audience do it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and I'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Jim wrote in, he said he ran out of Relief Factor twice. Both times his ache and stiffness and pain came back. Once he restarted, he said, I felt better again. As Jim puts it, you know something's working when you run out of it. Jim, I can tell you that's exactly, I didn't run out of it. I just thought, my wife made me take it. I'm like, it's not going to work. And then I started feeling better, and I was like, well, I did my 3 weeks. I'm feeling better, but it's just me. I'm in a good spot. I stopped taking it, and it all came rushing back. That's how I appreciate what Relief Factor does, and it could change your life. They make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor helped you tackle your daily aches and pain. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Call 1-800-4RELIEF. Get the 3-week quick start, $17.76. 1-800-4RELIEF. ReliefFactor.com. We hope you soon will be sharing your story with us.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
8:09. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Kennedy inbound, 44 minutes, O'Hare into the circle. Right now, the Ike stop and slow, North Avenue to the Tri-State. Stop and go traffic inbound on the Stevenson Ashland into the Dan Ryan merge. Seeing delays on Route 53 from an earlier accident southbound at Algonquin Road. Report of an accident in Willowbrook this morning, Route 83 and Midway Drive. Traffic is also a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. When you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, check of your morning forecast in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today will be mainly cloudy and humid with occasional rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a heavy thunderstorm later in the afternoon. Downpours may reduce visibility and lead to ponding on streets and highways. The temperature will reach a high of 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. In just a moment, I want to get into Tallarico. Does he really have a chance of winning Texas? Also, this follow-up from the In-N-Out Burger. Remember that In-N-Out Burger mass shooting that happened over the weekend? I've got some audio from the guy who is a hero. Because the left always lies about people like you and me. I have a concealed carry. I mean, I don't have to have a concealed carry license in Texas where I live as a Chicago native living in Dallas-Fort Worth. But I do because I have reciprocity whenever I travel. I drive home to Chicago regularly, and well, sometimes I fly. But when I drive, I can have my concealed carry, whether I go up through Memphis or whether I go through Little Rock or whether I go through Missouri, until I get to the state line of Illinois, when I have to, as you know, neuter myself and take out my magazine and take all the bullets out and such, and then put it in a locked case in the trunk, lest it be that some communist cop who wants to enforce a law that's ridiculous wants to cuff and stuff me for it. So I follow the law, but it's just so ridiculous. But they lie. The left lies about you and me, us folk that have concealed carry or us folk that carry, etc., saying that we can't carry and we can't prevent a mass shooting because if a mass shooting happens, they won't know who the good guy is or who the bad guy is. That's a total lie. And this In-N-Out Burger story encapsulates how this whole thing is a lie. So I want to hit that in a minute as well. But first, a little bit more on the flock cameras. Some folks calling in. I don't have a problem with them at all because you have no expectation of privacy when you're out and about in your car on the public roads. And as CWB Chicago just talked about, a Illinois State patrolman, the master sergeant, was just cuffed and stuffed for allegedly raping a woman, and they caught him because they used the flock cameras. so it can be used against even law enforcement officers who are doing wrong. They work. There are some other stories. I mean, there's so many different stories that we see, whether it be abductions, rapes, murders. Oh, I know what it was. There was another story in Dallas-Fort Worth that I just saw yesterday or the day before. There was a triple homicide, shocker, at a short-term rental place. I hate short-term rentals. There was a triple homicide from a thug party, and they got the guy with flock cameras. They put him at the scene with the flock cameras, for example. Let's go to Glenn. Glenn, you can chime in as well at 312-642-5600 on the Alpha Wealth Group answer line. Glenn in Orlando, you are on AM 560 The Answer.
Yeah, good morning. Listen, I was a little skeptical of Flock 2 until I went to their website and watched the videos and listened in on their Zoom calls on how they do things. And I'm very impressed with what they do. They gave an example of how they found a stolen dog in Ohio. It was stolen out of Ohio. They found it in Texas.
Wow.
They're using the flock cameras. And, people are worried about privacy. There is no privacy when you're out in the open. And if you're worried about privacy, why don't you worry about the Chinese taking all of our voter roll data? Why don't you worry about that? That's more important to me than police trying to solve crime on the streets. And if you talk to the police officers who encounter flock cameras, they say it's invaluable. Every one of them say it's invaluable. So, they're not spying on you. They're looking for bad people that commit crimes. And go to their website. It's got a lot of good information.
They'll say, well, you're going to the source and it's propaganda, but I don't have a problem with it. Glenn, I appreciate your call. Let's go to Bill on the Northwest side. Bill, you're on AM 560 The Answer. Hi.
Thanks, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, for the people that are concerned about flock cameras collecting too much information, what if that woman that was assaulted was your sister or your daughter? How concerned would you be at that point? That would be the last thing on your mind. You'd be so happy that they had that technology to find that creep and get him off the streets. So it did its job. And if you're doing, like you said before, Chris, if you're not breaking any laws, you have nothing to worry about.
Exactly. I appreciate your call, my friend. I'm going to hit up on one thing, though. The last caller from the previous segment, in the last hour, he talked about this technology, too, where they can, get it on your Bluetooth or on your cell phone. That is not Flock. I just read, at least I read a whole bunch last night into this morning, getting ready for the show, and read a lot about Flock cameras. And have, because, my job, to read up on all this news. But there's another technology that some police outfits are using where there's newer squad cars that can be purchased with newer technology that can, when they pull up on you, they can get Bluetooth, that kind of stuff. I don't think they can get into your phone. There's a possibility of that from some of these newer cop cars that are being used with some kind of a new technology. I don't recall the name of the technology. But if you want in on anybody's phone, to me, it has to be something where you have a warrant. And this is just me personally. I'm not a legal expert, but you have to have a warrant. It has to be something where there's a crash and somebody dies and they need to get in on the metadata to see or the data on your phone to see if you're texting or something like that. I got no problem with that. But just rolling up and be able to have access to a phone is insane. And I don't know the full extent of that, but I did read about something like that. But it has nothing to do with flock cameras. Flock cameras simply, to my understanding of the articles I've read a bunch, they get data from the car, the make, the model, the license plate, any identifying things on there, whether it be damage to the exterior of their car or bumper stickers. So if they're looking for somebody, they can get them. And if you're out and about, you're fair game. If you don't like it, don't go out. That really is it. Deborah, you are on AM 560 The Answer with Chris in for Dan. Hello. Wait, hold on. I got to hit the right button here. Hey, Deborah.
Morning, Chris. I, too, am a fellow Wheeling High School graduate.
And you're in Arlington Heights, where my uncle and aunt live.
I have no problem. I have no problem with cameras. I think it's the people that are, like worried they're going to get caught doing something wrong.
Right.
Like if you're not doing anything wrong, why are you worried? I was mentioning to your screener that there's a camera in our grocery store parking lot. There's cameras because they're looking out for people that are walking out,
Right.
using the self-serve checkout to make sure that they're not stealing anything. Okay, I have no problem with that. Like I'm not doing anything wrong. So
Right.
I think that it's a good thing. And if it can prevent crimes from happening, then why wouldn't we want that?
Right. Totally agree. What year did you graduate Wheeling, if I may ask?
Ooh, sore subject, 74.
That's okay. You sound like you graduated in 94.
No, 74.
I'm a 91 guy. That's okay. That's all right. 74.
Sure, yeah.
Not as young as the late Charlie Kirk, who graduated. Look, if you think, I felt old when I saw Charlie Kirk. What year he graduated from Wheeling? I'm like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
I appreciate your call.
Well, if you felt bad, think how I feel.
I'm sorry, I just made your day worse. Oh, the humanity.
No, it's okay. You did it.
Take care, Deborah. I appreciate your call.
That's what it is, right?
And by the way, Deborah, we didn't call. When I was at Wheeling High School, we called it Wheeling, man, because of all the gangbangers. Wheeling.
Yep.
All right.
Sir. Yeah. If you're going back further, we had the greasers. Yeah.
The greasers. Oh boy, I don't know who's worse, the gangbangers when I was at Wheeling or when you were at Wheeling. Who knows? They're all bad. All bad. All right. Tellerico. Tellerico's not going to win. This is before I get into the little minutia and little details, but Tellerico's not going to win. He's going to perform worse than Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator, fake Mexican, who literally is right where he belongs as a University of Chicago professor. Because he certainly doesn't fit in with Texas politics as far as being a red state that we are, at least for now, where I'm living here. And, I know you don't want Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator, fake Mexican either, but he certainly would fit in at the University of Chicago, where he belongs. He ran and almost beat Ted Cruz. He lost by about 2.6 percentage points, and the real reason that Ted Cruz almost lost that was not because Beto was so incredible, it was because Ted Cruz phoned it in. I can't tell you, doing my radio show in Dallas-Fort Worth leading up to that, how pathetic it was. Cruz literally phoned it in like 2-3 months before the election night. He finally realized, oh, crap. And the campaign finally realized, oh, crap, this is real. And it was almost too late. And we were talking about it all over here with my listeners in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we were talking about how there was no Cruz signs anywhere. People would go to the Dallas County Republican Party precinct, and there'd barely be anybody there. They're like, we're all worried, we're not going to win. And they're like, everything's fine, what's wrong with you? It was phoned in. And Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator, almost won, but he lost by 2.6 percentage points. Tellerico is an abomination. And I don't say that angrily. I think it's important to not be angry about the guy at all. But it's an abomination. I mean, in his library at his church, his so-called church, not trying to be rude, mean, but they have, and he preaches there, they have books that encourage and talk about gay sex with children. These books that if you and I show up at our school board, if they still have them in the library, we read it, the school board would shut us down, and they'd say, you can't say that, that's profane, that's explicit, and then, of course, you and I would say, well, why do you have this in the school then? Those kinds of books that encourage teen masturbation, teen sex, gay sex, etc., are in his church library. He, of course, as you know, says there's 6 genders, that God's non-binary, all sorts of things that are just an abomination. Said he's learned a lot from Muslim faith, which, you know, if you're a Christian, there's only one way to heaven. It's not, and it's through Jesus. That's it. But he's going to lose by 7 to 12 points. You mark my words. And one of the things I learned from one of the veteran political reporters in Dallas is that he literally if Tallarico wants to win in Texas, he literally has to have Hussein Obama numbers with the black community. He's got to get people. He's got to have rainbows shooting out of his wrist like former President Hussein Obama does, and Mrs. Hussein Obama. And to get that many black people to show up, it's not going to happen. I think a large chunk of the black community is totally disenchanted with this guy based on his views that are abomination to Democrat black voters and churchgoers. But look at this. This coming in from two separate polls as covered by Breitbart. Tallarico has topped out Democrat support and cannot reach a winning margin. Two recent surveys from Wedgwood Polls and Texas Southern University bear this out. Tallarico currently has a 2-point advantage, but the problem, it's very deceiving over Paxton. The problem is this. Tallarico has maxed out Democrat votes. What I mean by saying that is, according to these polls, 98% of Texas Democrats say, yes, he's our guy, we're voting for him. He cannot go higher. Paxton, in the polling, shows that he has 85% of Republican voters, with 9% backing Trump but are undecided. And I'm going to tell you right now, out of the 9% that back Trump but are undecided, I'd say about 90% of them are either going to, or if not more, are going to vote for Paxton or they're not going to vote. But Paxton's going to win. And now you have 4 months or 3 months to hammer home everything about him. And they're starting to define him now publicly here. So he's not going to win. He's maxed out with Democrat support. And with a 2-point advantage with Tallarico, when you add in the 9% who back Trump, who are either going to vote for Paxton or stay at home, you're going to see that 7-point swing, and he's going to win by 7 to 12 points. I'm not worried at all, and you shouldn't be either. Okay? Coming up next, I want to play audio of the hero who is just an armed guy in Idaho, in line at In-N-Out Burger, sees a terrorist pull out a gun, a mass shooter, and starts shooting people. And what does the left tell you and me? They lie. They say that if you or I, and I carry basically everywhere I go, if you or I pull out our firearm to defend people that are being shot and killed at a grocery store, at a supermarket, or at a mall, at our church, well, you're going to confuse them. They're not going to know who the bad guy is. Well, here's your freaking story. Somehow, an off-duty Idaho state trooper and a civilian like you or me carrying, both were shooting. They don't know anybody. They don't know each other. All of a sudden, they see a terrorist start shooting. They both start shooting at this guy, and the moment they start shooting at him is the moment this guy puts a bullet in his freaking head, because they're cowards, they're satanic, and when they're met with force, just like a terrorist, they'll either kill themselves or be killed or surrender. You're going to hear from the hero, average guy like you or me, that pulled out his gun and started shooting at the terrorist. In his first interview with ABC News, I got a little bit of that audio coming up next. Plus, we'll see if we have a few of you more calls to chime in. And then guess what? Chuck DeCaro is coming up. Just an amazing asset and resource to talk about with Iran. And I have so many questions for him. And a lot of what he's saying, I totally agree with, about what the hell are we doing right now? Finish the job, win the war, or cut bait. I want to finish the job. I support everything he's done. Finish the freaking job. Oh, we got a deal. Oh, we got a deal. Oh, yeah, we ain't got no deal. They're terrorists. A deal's on, a deal's off. A deal's on, a deal's off. I don't want to deal with terrorists. Do you? No. Kill them. All that up next. Chris Crock for Dan Proft, AM 560, The Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Looking for a place that feels like home the moment you walk through the door? Then make your way to Shannon's Deli in the heart of downtown Lombard. For more than 25 years, this woman-owned local favorite has been serving up incredible made-to-order sandwiches, homemade soups, crisp salads, and delicious catering that's earned a loyal following throughout DuPage County. Every meal is made with care, because at Shannon's, you're not just another customer, you're family. And when the weather's beautiful, grab your lunch or dinner and head upstairs to their rooftop patio. It's the perfect place to relax with friends, enjoy great food, and experience one of downtown Lombard's hidden gems. And Shannon's Deli is just 35 feet from the Metra train station. Plus, when you're ready for dinner, live entertainment, or a classic Irish pub experience, visit their sister restaurant, Shannon's Irish Pub, in Glen Ellen, just 2 blocks from the Metra station. Visit shannonsdeli.net and shannonsirishpub.info. That's shannonsdeli.net and shannonsirishpub.info.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year, contacted Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Kroc and for Dan Proft. Follow me on social media at Chris Kroc Show. Facebook, Instagram, and X at Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok. Podcast on YouTube and Rumble at Kroc Talk, KROKTALK. Here's the hero, just like you or me, caring, and sees a shooter at In-N-Out Burger in Idaho, pops and drops the guy. Actually, he doesn't hit the guy shoots and kills himself because he's met with fire.
On the right-hand side of that sign closest to the road, and that's where I saw the individual with his rifle pointed at the vehicles.
Authorities believe those heroic actions drove the shooter from the scene and likely saved lives.
He seemed unusually comfortable aiming that rifle at those cars, and then as soon as some rounds started coming at him, everything changed. Immediately, all that bravado he had immediately crumbled.
This In-N-Out had opened just a week prior.
A good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a gun. So many times the FBI doesn't know about it, doesn't report it, and their crime statistics don't include people that draw guns like you or I and don't even have to fire them to de-escalate a situation or prevent a crime. God bless this guy, and you should carry too if you're comfortable and you've been trained. Up next, Chuck Tuccaro You don't want to miss this. All on Iran and what we're doing and what is working for Iran, what's not working for us. Next, Chris Crock and for Dan Proft, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Into the news now with Mike Scott.
Gray skies, 73 degrees this morning in the QC Kinetics newsroom, and there is a threat of severe weather in the forecast for today. 2 were killed in a crash along I-88 in Aurora early this morning. State police say the crash occurred around 12:45 and shut down the eastbound lanes of I-88 near Eola Road for hours. 2 vehicles involved in the crash, 1 caught fire. 1 person hospitalized in serious condition after a fire broke out at a downtown high-rise on Tuesday evening. Chicago Fire saying the fire broke out in a residential building in the Streeterville neighborhood. The fire began inside 1 unit, but Chicago Fire is not yet declaring a cause. A teen boy is dead after being struck by a truck riding an e-scooter on Chicago's north side this week. The 16-year-old was riding along Northwestern Avenue when he lost control of the e-bike and scooter, then was struck by a passing truck, pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Former top Chicago Public Schools official accused of COVID-19 fraud. Crystal Cooper was indicted on 3 counts. Cooper obtained, according to prosecutors, 2 pandemic-related loans worth more than $25,000 by falsely reporting the amount of revenue generated by a side business she owns. A man is charged in separate teen killings on Chicago's far south side. Anthony Nunnally faces 2 first-degree murder charges in shootings that happened nearly 1 year apart. The first in September of 2024, the second last October, when a 19-year-old was shot and killed near 111th and South Mackinac. Abdul El-Sayed is the projected winner of Michigan's Democrat U.S. Senate primary, but there has been no official call as of yet in Michigan. There has been a call in Michigan on the GOP primary for governor, where Congressman John James wins the primary.
We offer freedom, they offer socialism. We offer change, they offer continued decline. We offer common sense, they offer crazy.
James will challenge Democrat candidate Jocelyn Benson. Congressman Wesley Bell easily defeated former Congresswoman Cori Bush in a Democrat primary rematch yesterday in Missouri. Todd Blanche's nomination to be the next U.S. Attorney General moving forward, the Senate Judiciary Committee voting 12-10 along party lines to advance Blanche's nomination. And a Northwest Indiana man is facing federal charges after investigators accuse him of exploiting minors online, part of what the FBI is describing as a, quote, satanic cult, end quote. Charleston Fallon of Gary is charged with sending threats across state lines, coercing a minor, and attempting to sexually exploit children. Fallon was called by the FBI a member of 764, by which an FBI agent described as a nihilistic, violent extremist group. Chicago sports, Bears lock down their right tackle, Darnell Wright, 4-year contract extension worth $116 million. Cubs beat the Dodgers at Wrigley 5-1. White Sox embarrassed by the Red Sox 14-2. The news, a service of Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows and doors, to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio with your host, Roger Piper. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about home improvement. Listen every Saturday at noon for Home Answers, right here on AM 560 The Answer. Sponsored in part by Access Home and Vehicle Mobility Solutions and by Steiner Homes.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1796, George Washington made one of the most consequential decisions in American history. He chose not to seek a third term as president. So why does that matter? Because America was not built on permanent rulers. It was built on ordered liberty. Faith teaches that authority is a stewardship, not a possession. Leaders are accountable to God for how they use power. And why does that still matter today? Because republics survive when leaders respect limits and citizens defend them. Washington's lesson still stands. A republic is preserved when power has limits, and public service remains a duty to God and country, not a path to personal rule.
Have you seen videos of Russian floating folk dancers?
Floating Russian whoosy-whatsits?
They wear long dresses so you can't see their feet, so it looks like they're gliding on air.
I've seen those videos. Impressive.
That reminds me of the dining chairs with the Brody table.
The Brody table is my favorite table at Penny Mustard.
You know, the unique design kind of resembles one of those Russian dancers.
You're right.
And check out these upholstered caster dining chairs.
I don't see any casters.
Precisely. It looks like the chairs gliding in air. Here, I'll show you. I can glide over here.
Ooh, nice.
And I can glide over there.
Be careful.
And I can...
Watch out!
I never was a very good dancer.
The Brody table, paired with 4 caster dining chairs, starting at $64.22 at Penny Mustard.
Now open in Algonquin.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
If you've saved $100,000 or more for retirement, call Steve Shyman today at 833-945-7283. That's 833-WILL-SAVE. 833-WILSAVE. Schedule your no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and make sure your plan is built to protect what you've worked so hard to earn. And don't forget to listen to Steve's show, Protecting Your Assets, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560. Call now, 833-945-7283.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Heard weekday mornings at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Bishop Ford commuters, they have just reopened the outbound Ford right before 130th from an earlier bad accident. Disabled vehicle blocking 2 right-hand lanes eastbound on the Jane Addams I-90 just before Harmony Road. Accident in West Chicago being cleaned out of your way. Route 59 in North Avenue. And they've reopened the intersection County Farm and Manchester Road in Wheaton. Traffic, a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Subscribe free, 560theanswer.com/podcast. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center, cloudy, humid, rain, maybe a thunderstorm, and a high of 82.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios. Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest.
AM 560, The Answer. Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. Chuck Ticaro joining us, CNN's very first special assignment correspondent. Served with the 20th Special Forces Group. Former consultant for the Pentagon's Office of Net Assessment for 25 years. New column out from Chuck. First of all, Chuck, welcome to back, of course, to Chicago's Morning Answer. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good. I really enjoyed your column in The Blaze. the other day.
Thank you.
America is winning the air war and losing the information war. And I could not agree with you more. The first thing I want to ask you before we dig into your column is surviving, just surviving, whether it be a month from now if the hostilities are over, a year from now, 3 years from now, or 3 weeks from now, whatever, is just surviving for the Iranian radical regime. Isn't that a victory in and of itself for them?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to. In a way, it would be a victory. But, there's a difference here between perception and reality. And the Iranians are doing a very good job of driving a perception that they're winning the war. And they're doing it through information means. And the irony of this, if you Google Iran and the word soft war, they are using the theorem that I developed in the 1990s and have been teaching at the War College since 1992 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And they've adopted the term soft war, and they're using it effectively. And the reason for that is they got nothing to lose. They don't have a gigantic military and intelligence and State Department bureaucracy like we do, and they've adapted.
Right.
And they're using it well. For instance, have you seen the Iranian propaganda based on Legos?
Yes, I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about that because I want to talk to you about that because what really pissed me off. I was talking to my father. Worked in counterintelligence, and he worked with some CIA folks. And one of them is a friend of his, and I've had him on my show. He's incredible. Iran is one of his fortes, if you will. He took down the AQCon network selling nuclear secrets to Iran and other countries. And one of his he hooked me up with another CIA guy, but the guy totally hates Trump, and he was bragging almost about the Legos that you're talking about and how incredible they are. But to me, that's somebody who hates Trump can watch this and mentally masturbate about how successful Iran is and how horrible Trump is. I have seen the videos. They are very good propaganda. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about that. First of all, we have to look at the nature of television. Okay, that is the electronic distribution of cinematic film. The problem is that television transfers information by perception of images and sound and not exactly the hard reality.
Right.
Now, those videos, are extremely good, and here's why.
Right.
Every one of them is targeted at those factions within the United States who have a problem, and what they're trying to do is create a big enough disturbance in the American political system. If you look, they're aimed at those people. Did you see the Epstein video?
Right. No.
The indication, it's very good. There are other videos about other problems, and it's really odd that the kinds of groups they're going for are the kinds that form the coalition that you would see in the No Kings rally.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
They're very, very smart about U.S. political culture. Very smart. And they act quickly. We don't have anything like that can turn on a dime as the Iranians do. And it's our fault because the bureaucratic nature of our government, which has been in place for a lot longer than the Iranians, is very difficult to change. It's a monster, and it turns the way the Queen Elizabeth would turn if it were equipped with a pair of oars.
What I was trying to get at, too, by the way, I didn't think I finished I kind of cut myself off, but the second CIA guy that I was introduced to that was all excited and telling how effective the Iranian propaganda is, the Lego stuff, which I understand, and it is, but it pissed me off because this guy was a clear Trump hater, the CIA guy, so I did not have him on my podcast. So he pissed me off because he was literally excited that it was so successful, at least, but it was exactly what you're talking about. It made somebody like him who despises President Trump excited. And it just which reviles me even more because I thought this guy was supposed to be on our side. You know what I mean? Whether he hates Trump or not is not my problem. You know what I'm saying? Also, here's another thing. The Iran, they scatter their counterattacks, like you say in your column, in its early morning hours, so the images arrive right during American primetime news cycle. Their propaganda and what they're doing with their extremely limited resources compared to us is extremely successful as far as in the propaganda department, isn't it?
That's absolutely correct. But that's all they got to rely on. They cannot match us one for one in conventional weaponry. They can't do it. So they're using this, and it's very clever. You have to give them the prize on that. They are very clever in the way they use it. To go back to those Legos videos, you notice that they're done to rap music with an Ebonic accent, and the rap is very good. So they're aiming for demographics, specific age demographics, in order to try to get as much dysfunction within the American body politic as possible. Now, we haven't done anything. Now, one of the problems that we have is we get 5 different organizations that do information warfare: CIA, War Department, State Department, the Agency for Global Media, and the White House. And their information warfare definitions differ from bureaucracy to bureaucracy, and there's no coordination or common language. And that's because these systems evolved over time rather than evolving recently for the enemy in front of us.
Right.
So it's really hard to make these bureaucracies move. Now, did you see the story about Central Command sending out a letter to try to crowdsource what to do next in Iran? Did you see that story?
Yeah. This is a story that you want us to talk about, too, which I appreciate. I read through it. CNN, quote, exclusive, U.S. military asks troops for creative and unconventional ideas to punish Iran. So like you said, they're like crowdsourcing. They're sending out emails to everybody in the Pentagon. What ideas can we do here? And, go ahead.
The problem is that you're crowdsourcing to a very small crowd. It's somebody inside CENTCOM.
Right.
And here's the problem. You've seen my other articles in the past about the quality of military education, which, of course, Secretary of War Hegseth has been talking about in parallel to the articles that I've written.
Yes.
The problem is, if you are not classically trained in history and military theory, you can't really come up with new and unconventional ideas. The study of history is important because technology changes, but the human condition doesn't.
Right.
Things like deception are a skill that needs to be utilized on a regular basis, and it's not there. So I blame part of this on the quality of military education over the last couple of 3 decades. And therefore, we need to look at how we train our officers so that the imaginative ones come to the fore in a problem like the one we're having.
Well, Chuck Tuccaro, of course, Chuck Tuccaro, CNN's very first special assignment correspondent, served with the 20th Special Forces Group, former consultant for the Pentagon's Office of Net Assessment for 25 years. I want to ask you a few more questions here. Does Iran want a deal? Because I don't think they do, and I don't want to do a deal with terrorists. Do you?
Oh, no, you're absolutely correct. But the problem is they're backed into a corner. The one thing that we haven't tried that we ought to try is we are not projecting information to the Iranian body politic.
Yes.
Zero, zip, nada.
Your column talks about this. Yes.
I'm sorry?
Your column talks about this. Why haven't we taken out the comms and replaced the comms like for television networks there and put our stuff in there? What the hell are we doing here, right?
Well, that's correct, because we had a system upon which I was a consultant in the 90s called Commando Solo, which was a C-130 aircraft that had a 10,000-watt TV transmitter. The problem is that the latest version of it was retired 2 years ago because in order to transmit television, you have to fly in a racetrack pattern that's extremely predictable, and giving the plethora of modern missiles out there becomes a target. However, no one has even talked about the utilization of remotely piloted vehicles, of drones, as carrier aircraft for television. As you know from the radio business, the power of a transmitter falls off by the square of the distance. So if you had a 10,000-watt transmitter that would go out to, let's say, 50 miles effectively, you could use 10-watt transmitters
Right.
flying in individual RPVs to get the thing across. That's one. The second part is you better damn well know the quality of the programming that's going into the system. We had this problem with Commando Solo. The Air Force was paying $52 million each to modify the aircraft, plus the cost of the aircraft, maybe $80 million total. And the Army would, provide the product, and it was $1.98 kind of stuff. So you must have a system in place that can create effective propaganda for the population at contemporary times. Just exactly what Iran has been doing with the Legos videos. Mm-hmm. They understand our body politic, and they're effectively touching every one of those sub-demographics in the hope that they can change the political mentality of the body politic of the United States by the time the midterms come up.
Yeah. They ain't stupid. They're smart. Chuck, one last quick question for you.
Sure.
And that is, I think we need to finish the job. I think this is stupid. We're on again, off again. Oh, they want to make a deal. They don't want to make a deal. I think we need to finish the job. What needs to be done to finish the job, or do we need to cut bait here? Talk to me.
Well, I would use the theorem of Colonel John Warden, United States Air Force retired, who dreamed up something called instant thunder, which was so effective in Desert Storm in 1991. Now, John calls for strategic paralysis. That is, you attack everywhere, everything, all at once. And you cause a shock to the system. We haven't done that. We're doing it by the book, looking at simply military targets. On the other hand, you can't do what we did to Japan in World War II, where you level 16 square miles of Tokyo in one night and cause 150,000 casualties.
Right.
Can't do that either. So somewhere in the middle, part of this is getting to the Iranian body politic, which I think the dictatorship in Iran fears the most, because they've already had a reported 10 to 30,000 casualties, that is, executions of people who disagree with the government. So there's got to be a substantial number of people there who are waiting for change.
Yeah.
And we haven't done anything that I know of
that's
been publicized to get them to overthrow the government. I think we might want to look at that as well.
I agree so much. Chuck, appreciate you very much, always. Chuck DeCaro, CNN First Special Assignment Correspondent, served with the 20th Special Forces Group, former consultant for the Pentagon's Office of Net Assessment. Column is America is winning the air war and losing the information war on the Blaze. Appreciate you very much, sir. Thanks for your service. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Bye
yes,
now.
sir. There he goes. Okay, coming up next, I'll say goodbye, but I'll also want to do this real quick thing for you. Is a new person that needs to go into the WNBA, a trans basketball star. All that next. Chris and Verdan, 560, The Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
You know that feeling when you call your insurance company and you know that you're getting put into queue? Nobody wants to go through that, specifically Tommy and TJ Iaquinta with Class A Insurance. They're a father and son team built right here in Chicago's southwest suburbs on one idea: treat people like family. See, because they're independent, they're not stuck in pushing one company policy on you, one company rates on you. They shop the best carriers in the country, names you'd recognize, and find coverage that actually fits your life, your home, your car, even your boat and motorcycle. That's why they've been named one of the top 25 home insurance agencies in Chicago. 2 generations, 1 agency. And clients that stick with them for years. When something happens and claims happen, Tommy or TJ is the one who picks up the phone and walks you through the process themselves. If you're paying for a policy you don't understand from a company you never talk to, it's simple. Head to 560insurance.com. That's 560insurance.com. Get a free quote in minutes at 560insurance.com.
At Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, going the distance for business banking clients is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth. They do not have time to wait for answers. With Signature, you have a trusted banking partner, focused on understanding your business and helping you move forward. When you have a question or need support, you want someone who will pick up the phone, respond to your text, and be there when it matters. That's Signature. We are a team that takes the time to understand you, your business, and your goals. Ready to become Signature's next success story? Call 773-467-5600 or visit signature.esquirebank.com. Signature, a division of Esquire Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer. Chris Crock and for Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer. French trans basketball star says he'd accept the WNBA offer if the league came calling. If you haven't seen this guy, he's buff, he's massive, and he has a long ponytail. Says he's a woman. I hope he does get called. I hope he does go to the WNBA, and then he can beat everybody in there, and they can all say, oh, I guess we don't support trans people playing in women's sports. Meantime, Clay Travis from Outkick has said he'll throw down $10 million if a WNBA team will play a high school boys basketball team of his choice because he knows they'll whoop their ass. Excuse my language. Here is this gay activist anchor in Minneapolis, and she's angry about it on the newscast.
I thought to myself, why? But obviously the answer is because he thinks it is so impossible for any group of women, let alone the best in the game, that they could ever beat younger and more inexperienced boys.
She's angry. She's taking it personally. Don't. It's a fact. Remember when the professional women's soccer team lost to a boys team of 15-year-olds? It's called the way God made men and women. That's why men shouldn't be in women's sports. This is AM 560 The Answer, WND Chicago.
A progressive backed by socialists is a step closer to the Senate. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Associated Press has just called the race in Michigan for Abdul El Sayed